everybody. Good morning. Welcome to a cold, but not so cold, at least this morning, Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU, FM 90.7. It is a Wednesday all day today, the 21st. We say good morning to Tyrus, who actually beat everybody except yours truly to the studio this morning. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning.
Any deer on the way?
Nope, not a thing.
All clear, and you're here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And a pleasant good morning to Terry. Terry, good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
You know, I'm awarding you with a Harry and David pair. Compliments of my grandson down in Dallas. He, for Christmas, gave me, I believe, at least maybe 3 months of surprise from Harry and David. The first month was large, very large, a number of pairs. This is for January, and or maybe it's February, and more pairs, but smaller pairs, a different brand, but just as juicy. And I thought, you know what? It's pretty selfish of me not to share that with Terry. So good luck on it. Let me know what you think.
Well, thank you.
And a pleasant good morning to Dave as well. Dave arriving on the scene.
Well, good morning. I had to climb over the pile of salt in front of the front door there.
Yeah.
And fight off about 75 deer licking the salt.
Yeah.
Not that many. Sorry.
Can they eat that kind of salt? Is that bad
I
for them?
don't think we'd want to run that experiment.
No, I don't think so, because they probably have some antifreeze or chemicals in it. And I was, you know, when they first dropped, and I want to commend the owners who live in San Diego, and I've talked to them about the show being transferred to San Diego.
Wow, snowy San Diego.
At least during the winter. And they really take care of this building. They are absolutely super duper people. And
it is really nice.
One of the things they did was, I guess, Monday morning when they threw the salt down, or did it go back to last week? When did they throw the salt down on the sidewalks?
Maybe earlier this week, too.
I think it was probably Monday morning. At any rate, I'd rather they have too much salt than not enough.
Does that count for my diet, too? Too much salt?
Well, you have to be careful for obvious reasons. And then, if you think it's going to get, and you can't get more complete weather than right here on Breakfast with Roger and Friends in the morning. We're going to be at around 35, 36 degrees today. But we've got something that I've never heard of before, a hazardous weather outlook. Well, is it a forecast? I'm not sure I want an outlook. I want to know the forecast. At any rate, with warning about cold weather from 3 a.m. Friday morning to noon.
So it's a cargo short warning. Don't wear them outside this weekend, right?
Speaking of cargo, this morning I think I saw the largest number of trucks going east on I-74. I counted, I lost count because I can only count up to 10. I counted more than 10 trucks going east. And I thought back to the days before we had so many trucks. We relied on rail service, and I guess we don't do much moving of freight by train except, maybe coal from some of the states that are mining coal now.
This would probably be an appropriate time to play Convoy by C.W. McCall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll look that up. I might.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think,
wasn't that the day of the CB radios?
Oh, yes.
The breaker.
1-9 for some local information.
I can remember sitting and watching trains and cars on the cars. Remember that they'd have the...
you're right.
And
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But now they're all on trucks, aren't they? I haven't seen a train with, you're right.
With the cars on in a long time.
I remember seeing a story back in the early 70s, the Chevrolet Vega was a car that they would ship them on rail cars upside down. They'd drain the fluids and they'd ship them like this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
I was reading that one time. And that maybe isn't why they didn't last very long.
Maybe could be.
Yeah. For sure. Well, we're going to get into the weather and a few other things. Thanks for joining us, not only on WAZU FM 90.7 here in Peoria, Illinois, but also a reminder on YouTube as well. So with that having been said, the most comprehensive news right here on 90.7 each and every morning. And it's brought to you by Steve Sink, Certified Business Intermediary with PHX affiliate. Steve, has been a business broker handling things for over 20 years now, and he sold businesses from $25,000 to $45 million. He specializes in business valuations, and you want to know about business, you can reach Steve today at 309-696-8505. And he brings you the weather, and I tell you what, I would like maybe Dave to do the weather, but you would never be able to read my hieroglyphics that I had to do all the changing. So we will tell you we have a hazardous weather outlook due to strong winds today and tonight, followed by extreme cold weather Friday with wind chill values to 25 below. That extreme cold watch in effect beginning Friday 3 a.m. in the morning until noon. Otherwise, cloudy this morning, then becoming sunny, windy, and warmer today with a high of 36. That's the good news. Partly cloudy and cold tonight with a 30% chance for snow and a low of 18. Tomorrow, cloudy, windy, a high of 31. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, windy, very cold, a low 4 below. That's tomorrow night. Friday, as we mentioned, a bitterly cold day. Only going to get up to 3 degrees on Friday, and it'll be 6 below Friday night. Saturday, a high of 10. Saturday night, 4, and a good chance for snow on Saturday night. Right now, our temperature at 33 degrees. We'll take that and run with it. Let's get into the news, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of our clients since 1993 with a comprehensive range of home health services from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. Your choice matters at Spoon River Home Health. Their phone number 309-245-0723. Now the news. We'll lead with Terry.
President Trump, along with millions of Americans, can't understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision yet has been made about men playing as females, while also addressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Liberal Justice Brown Jackson seemed to be arguing on behalf of males who want to play in women's sports, as did Justice Sotomayor.
Last June, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines, supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males and female teams. We'll talk about the issue this morning with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30.
Speaking of the president, after having to change planes, he's on the way to Davos, Switzerland, meeting with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them are angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. A Danish official has already used the F word, like the mayor of Minneapolis, to express his thoughts about Trump. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending the summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today in what could be a hostile environment.
The country's Justice Department isn't happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. It's part of a Department of Justice investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Many Americans are wondering why no one was arrested after the invasion of a St. Paul, Minnesota church service by a group of protesters last Sunday morning.
U.S. forces have taken over another Venezuelan oil tanker. The latest apprehension took place in the Caribbean. If you're keeping score, that makes 7 vessels who the Trump administration say violated the boycott.
Turning to local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. The victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation.
A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least one count of theft.
Details have been released about a big fight at Richwoods High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families, 2 of them with injuries.
Police were called yesterday morning to a one-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for treatment. The other 2 remain at large.
Police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Greer after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest.
It took about an hour and a half, but President Trump ticked off a long list of his accomplishments after 1 year in the White House. Trump told reporters he brokered the end of 8 wars in the world and put an end to the daily rush of immigrants into the United States. Trump said the country's borders have never been more secure.
He also said gas prices have dropped as many grocery items. He gave credit to the imposition of tariffs for producing the largest amount of revenue in the history of the United States. He also took credit for new proposals to reduce the cost of prescription drug prices. And that is the news for this hour.
We continue with more news from WCBU. More news more often right here on WAZU.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Bradley University and Illinois Central College are forming a transfer partnership. It's to create a seamless pathway between the higher ed schools while boosting the greater Peoria workforce. Bradley President James Chaddid says the Path to BU agreement represents a critical step for both institutions.
We're neighbors. We both have the same goals and missions and vision about higher education, and it just makes sense.
ICC Interim President Bruce Buddy says the program fortifies an already strong relationship with Bradley. A provision tucked in the fine print of Congress's Big Beautiful Bill could escalate a severe nursing shortage in central Illinois. Nurses pursuing graduate degrees will see new limits on federal student loan borrowing this fall. OSF Healthcare Chief Executive for Nurses and Advanced Practice Providers, Melinda Cooling, says that disrupts worker pipelines.
On the nursing side, this could be a big influence on those that are pursuing advanced practice degrees, as well as those who may become future faculty.
Borrowing is capped at $100,000 for nurses in graduate school. Senate Republicans say they have introduced a bill to repeal the requirement to use only renewable energy by 2050. This comes after the state passed a bill that invests in wind and solar energy to bolster the state's energy grid. Senator Sally Turner, who represents parts of Tazewell and Woodford counties, opposed the measure.
When it comes to, I need assistance with my energy bill because we know that's out of control right now. A lot of it, I think we see that it's going to special interests.
Turner says she supports lifting the state's moratorium on new large-scale nuclear power plants that's included in the law. And a former elementary school administrator in Tazewell County is facing felony theft charges for using the school's financial accounts for personal gain. 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings worked as the secretary and financial officer for Spring Lake Elementary in Manitou. She's accused of misusing school-issued credit cards and checks totaling more than $150,000 in unauthorized spending. Rawlings was taken into custody Monday afternoon. I'm Courtney Conroy.
All right, Courtney, thanks. Good job as always. Now let's get into sports. Tyrus is here with all the latest. Good morning, Tyrus.
Good morning, Roger. Thank you. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. Bradley basketball is 13-7 after losing to Illinois State University 88-62. They look to get back on the winning track tonight against Indiana State at 6. It is a home game. Bradley girls basketball are 11-7 after losing to Northern Iowa 73-70. The next game is Friday versus Valespario this Friday at 6. It is a home game. Illinois basketball, they are 15-3 after beating Minnesota 77-67. The next game is tonight against Maryland at 6 p.m. at home. And then your National College Football Championship, Indiana beats Miami 27-21. NFL news, as you know, the Bears season ended in overtime against the Rams, 20-17. They had their opportunities in that game. They just kind of, blew that one away.
It was a good game.
Good game, though.
It was a good game, yeah. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
He's worth his weight in gold, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, and then just the miscommunication in overtime, if, you run your route a little bit.
Interception, yeah.
You run your route a little bit harder, maybe at worst it's an incompletion, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Next season, we'll see.
Yeah, wait till next year.
That's right. Us Chicago fans. And then one of the other big coaches fired is Bills coach Sean McDermott. So he's done in Buffalo, so they're going to be looking for a new coach.
Well, didn't he make some statements at the end of the season? I'm not saying that that's what caused him to get fired, but he said some controversial things. Did I read that right or see that right? I didn't go into the details beyond the headlines.
Probably since, he got fired and all, so
Isn't there like
well,
nine
but he
coaches?
didn't get fired until after his news conference after the game.
yeah.
But, I mean, they didn't suddenly say, oh, did you hear what he said? Well, fire him. That was already in the mix. I think he probably knew it. Don't you think?
Sometimes they know it going into the press conference, but they just do those
Sure.
just because it's the end of the year. And then right after that, they can them, just like
Just
I'm
like
sure I-
canning
the Falcons coach.
Yeah.
They did the same.
Who was the coach at Atlanta?
Raheem Morris.
Oh, yeah, a real household name.
Yeah. NFL championship round. It is the Patriots and the Broncos at 2 p.m. this Saturday, and the Rams versus the Seahawks later that day at 5:30. And then NHL news: the Blackhawks, who are
Yes. What about
they just beat the Winnipeg Jets in a shutout 2-0, and they're gonna look to get back onto the winning track. They are 20.
the winning track? They're going nowhere fast. You know that. I mean, you're a sports guy. You know. You can see the
That's
handwriting on the wall.
That's true.
Well,
Well,
worth a crap.
they get healthy,
Oh,
We'll
healthy
see.
my ankle.
St. Louis Blues lose last night to the Winnipeg Jets 3-1. They play again Friday at 7 versus the Dallas Stars. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 21-22 after blowing out the Clippers last night, 138-110. They play tomorrow away versus the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 p.m. And then some MLB news for you. Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are now in the Hall of Fame as of yesterday.
Who are they?
Andrew Jones and
I don't know about Edgar, but I certainly know
Carlos Beltran.
yeah.
Beltran, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other guy, who is he? Is he a Border Patrol agent or what? I haven't heard that.
He's
guy's
actually a 10-time Gold Glove winner out in
whoopee.
center field. So, but
name. For who?
he's
Who did he
in.
play?
He was on Baltimore for a while and
Oh, no, that's
all that.
exciting.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And then Carlos Beltran, we know him. He's
Was he with the Dodgers? Who did he play with?
mostly the Mets and a little with Houston. 2 years with the Cardinals. And,
He did play with the Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? You're a Cardinal fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Dave?
That was a while ago.
Yeah,
It was a
that's
while
what
ago. It was when he
yeah.
was like 35 and
Yeah,
36 or something.
He wasn't a Golden Glove then, though. But that was
No, he was
that
in
way
his older
career.
years,
Yep.
but he still,
He still contributed.
yeah, he still
Now,
contributed.
here's the
played pretty
question. Which came first, the Golden Glove or the Gold Finger?
Ah.
I think Golden Glove. Gold
you're right.
Gold Finger was, what movie was that,
James
Terry?
Bond.
James Bond.
well. The gold member?
Yeah.
That was 1964.
64? All right, we'll take that as a correct answer.
There you go.
Any other sports?
Yep, and then
Uh-huh.
Luis Robert has been traded from the White Sox to
Who?
the New York Mets. That Luis Robert, he plays the outfield for the White Sox, but
Okay.
he's
Doc
getting traded-
Sidler would know who that is.
Yeah, he's
I have
getting-
no idea.
traded to the Mets just for
For $1.95 plus
kinda.
tax.
It's actually he's getting traded for Ronald Acuna's little brother, is going to the White Sox, and then they're getting another pitcher in that deal. So,
Boy, that's an exciting story.
yep. All right. That's our sports
And that's
quarterback
the
defense.
okay. Now, you can't leave sports up in the air like this without making your prediction. Who's going to win who's going to be in the Super Bowl and who's going to win it?
Well,
Dave, you're into this
I'm
as
gonna
well.
go with I think Seattle.
Seattle.
To me,
I agree.
Just
Yeah,
I
I think. How about you, Terry?
Seattle.
I
wait a
think
minute, is
we
there
have-
breakfast or lunch on the line here? I mean,
No, I already owe him lunch,
gonna say.
breakfast,
no, I didn't.
buffet, and Sunday.
Yeah, I guess we'll all go, I guess. That'd be a good idea. But, yeah, probably Seattle because,
Because they're good. They stomped all over the
good.
49ers.
And-
49ers they're not a great team, but they were a good team.
Yeah.
And that game wasn't even close.
Thank you. It's not going to be the Broncos because
I agree.
Bo Nix got hurt. And
He is injured, huh?
He is injured.
I don't know if you got that impression that I got in that game. He was pretty cocky in the game that who Denver defeat?
Oh, the Bills.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Which, little controversial catch, too.
Yes, that's right.
So, was it a catch? Was it an interception?
What did they rule?
like,
I forget.
They ruled it as an interception, which would have set the Bills up
Yeah.
to win the game right there, and then the Broncos went back down and got
Yeah.
their field goal.
I
And,
still think they need to recruit former professional players as officials. They
Yeah.
know the game. They know the tricks for holding. We've talked about this before. There are people, announcers, sports guys, have indicated if they wanted to, they could throw the flag for holding on virtually every play
yeah,
because somebody is holding.
yeah.
And I guess it has to be very flagrant. At any rate, who are the Seattle players going to face in the Super Bowl? You think they will win the Super Bowl? Who will they defeat? Who's left?
I would say it'd be the Patriots. So it's going to be the
Oh,
Patriots.
that'll be no contest.
And the Seahawks, and then I think the Seahawks are just probably the all-around
all-around good team.
better team.
Offensively and defensively. Who's the quarterback for Seattle?
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and he's been around for a long time.
He's been around for a long time.
Wasn't he at one time a quarterback for Detroit? Does that
Vikings.
sound- That was for the Vikings
Yeah.
in the Central Division.
Yep.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrus, who already has won 2 meals.
I was going to
from
say,
yours
Tyrus
truly.
seemed to have, that was his
Yeah.
trivia today. I think he gets to ring the bell.
Yeah.
You did well in those
Yeah,
answers.
he did.
Yeah.
He certainly did. All right, there's sports with Tyrus, the money grabber. Well, we're going to have fun this morning. We have the quiz coming up here in a couple of minutes by the quizmaster Phil Salzer. And a lot of questions legally, and once again, exclusively right here on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. Our attorney, Kevin Lyons, where'd they come from? Former state's attorney Kevin Sullivan will join us and talk about things all legal. And I don't know about you, but I just heard of a case in which a judge ruled that the somebody in the Attorney General's office, judge ruled she can't have that title, and I was afraid I might get a. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even know the name of the. It's a woman, and the White House legal staff and the Department of Justice has said, this judge is out of bounds. He doesn't have the right to rule what kind of a title somebody has. The next thing you know, I won't be in charge of Breakfast with Roger and Friends. I don't deserve
Lindsay
that title.
Halligan is her name.
What is it?
Lindsay Halligan?
Yes, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. What is the title she had? And he said, no, you can't have that title.
Yeah, well, she was a U.S. attorney in Virginia.
I believe that
yeah.
could be correct on that end for it. Anyway, well, are we supposed to be doing anything preparing for this cold weather? They're calling it a cold weather outlook. Is that what the title is?
Wrap your outside pipes, little trickle, the old usual news
Yeah.
stories you get.
Now, let me ask all
water.
three of you,
Yep.
including Tyrus, because he and his brother are holding down the fort in Princeville in their home.
That's right.
Do any of you ever turned on a faucet to let it trickle when they have these kind of
Oh,
warnings?
absolutely.
Yeah, I did. One of my houses I lived in at one time was on a, no basement, so it was obviously a concrete floor.
Yeah.
The pipes were right underneath, and so since they weren't encased inside, I did. And one time I didn't do that, and they froze. So I learned. the
Oh,
hard
so
way.
you learned early.
But
Yep.
I think it depends, does it not, on the location of the pipes.
I agree.
If you have a bathroom with pipes facing the outside, I can
Yeah.
see it. But if your pipes are basically inside, well, of course they are inside, whether you have a basement or not, but more in the center of the house, I don't think there's any need to do it. Unless you want to make sure you don't have, because once you have frozen pipes, it's bad news to defrost them, aren't they?
It's not
Don't they have
easy.
to take blow torches and go down and run it along the pipes to
It depends.
get rid of the ice?
When I had the trailer and my pipes froze.
Well, the trailer, boy,
Little
I
hairdryer,
understand
right?
that,
The
yeah.
hairdryer?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I've heard that being
Yeah,
used
I've
too.
used one of those.
What'd you use, Terry?
Dad got one of those kerosene
Oh,
propane, and we had to get the skirting out, and
Sure.
and the snow was like butt deep to get out there and shovel it away.
That butt deep, it's deep.
It was very
Yeah.
deep, and then we had to dig out, get the skirting out, and put it under there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, that was a mess, and it's cold while
It
you're
was
doing it.
father-daughter bonding time,
Yeah.
yes. And yes, I got quite the lecture.
Yeah. Did you ever hear, was that the first time you heard swearing from your dad?
No.
No, okay.
We worked on cars together before, too, so yeah.
Years before.
Yeah, it was reinforced at least.
You know, I don't know, my wife and I raised two boys, and I'm trying to look back to when I may have used a word or two, and I do remember on more than one occasion when the light bulb went up and said, Roger, you have two boys listening to you, so shut up. But when you get upset or angry, you don't assess your audience. Like if you hit your thumb with a hammer, you don't say, well, let me check and see if the boys are listening before I say, oh, blankety blank.
Yeah.
I always say, son of a biscuit. It always
Yeah.
works.
I will say, and I think I mentioned this in talking about my brother who passed away, that the daughters told me on more than one occasion they never heard my brother swear. And when I look back on it, I don't think I ever heard him swear either. Some people, such as my brother, just don't use profanity.
No.
I wish I could say the same thing, but I can't, for that matter. It does, there are moments where, at one point I started using the expression Judas Priest instead of something else,
Yep.
as a matter of fact.
Right.
Did you ever substitute?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got quite a few. Like I said, son of a biscuit is one.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good transfer. Women never swear.
Yes, we do.
Well, as an example, I'm referring to my sisters and my mother. I never heard my mother ever use a foul word,
My mom never did.
and neither did Judy or Carol. I never heard anyone on the female side of my family swear. My dad, that's another story that we won't get into because he's not here to defend himself. Well, we've got the quiz coming up, but first, as usual, at the bottom of the hour, we bring you up to date with some of the stories we're following. That's coming up right now. And our news at the bottom of the hour brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman Wall. Tax time just around the corner, and now's the time to start planning. Matt Wall, experience in federal and state tax compliance, a little bit of everything in the financial world, and certainly tax preparation for the year included on the list of his talents and skills. You can learn more from Matt Wall. His phone number 309-692-4030. Terry has our news headlines.
Well, President Trump, along with millions of Americans, can't understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision has yet been made about men playing as females, while also dressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Last June, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines, supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee, which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males on female teams. We'll talk about the issue with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning. And speaking of the president, he's on his way to Davos, Switzerland, to meet with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them were angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending the summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today. The country's Justice Department is not happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, as part of a DOJ investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. In local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Prairie County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. The victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation. A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least one count of theft. Details have been released about a big fight of Richwood High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families. 2 of them were injured. Police were called yesterday morning to a one-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for treatment. The other 2 remain at large. And police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Greer after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, let's take a check of the weather, brought to you by Kyle Varnold, providing personal and business insurance for auto, home, life, and health. Kyle works with multiple carriers to find tailored policies for individuals, families, and businesses, at the same time building long-term relationships and personalized service. And you can reach Kyle to talk insurance today at 309-682-0519. We have a rather extensive weather outlook for you this morning on this Wednesday, the 21st of January. First of all, we have a hazardous weather outlook. Never heard of that before, due to strong winds today and tonight, followed by what they're calling extreme cold weather outlook or forecast, beginning Friday with wind chill values to 25 below. That extreme cold watch, as it's called, in effect from 3 this Friday morning until Friday at noon. Otherwise, today, sunny, windy, and warmer. a high of 36, partly cloudy and cold tonight with a 30% chance for snow and a low of 18. Tomorrow it'll be cloudy, windy, a high of 31. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, windy, and very cold with a low 4 below. Friday, bitterly cold, a high of only 3 on Friday, 6 below Friday night. Saturday, warm up to 10, and Saturday, 4, the temperature, and a good chance for snow Saturday night. No snow in the forecast right now. Currently, our temperature at 33 degrees, and there you have the latest when it comes to weather for Peoria and Central Illinois. Now it's time for our Wednesday morning quiz. Okay.
I divert.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready? I just browsed through the questions, and we have a plethora and a cornucopia of all kinds of wonderful questions, duly suited. Maybe one space question.
All right.
So hang in there.
Hey.
We start with the Broadway musical, Guys and Dolls. It opened in what year?
Can I take a stab? I'm going to say 1957.
A little too high. I probably shouldn't say a little. It's high. I don't know. Little.
Early?
Yeah, you need to go back a little.
47.
47, a little low.
Okay, 52.
A little high.
50?
50 is correct. And it was based on short stories by what author?
Damon Runyon.
Damon Runyon is correct. How much did the color TV set cost when it was introduced in 1954? What was the price tag for a color TV set in 1954?
$100.
I'm going to say...
Too low, way too low.
Okay, so I'm going to say 650 because
That's low too.
I'm going to say $1,000.
$1,000 is correct.
And I wonder, adjusted for today's dollars, what
Yes,
that would
right.
be. I wonder.
Yeah, that you're
It'd be like
yeah.
buying a house. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Think about it. People are buying houses that cost $19,000.
Yeah,
And
you're right. Well said. What country, here's a sports question, what country banned motor racing for decades following the 1955 Le Mans disaster?
France?
Incorrect. Tyrus? European country.
Okay.
Okay.
Spain?
Incorrect.
Monaco?
Incorrect.
Le Mans. Great Britain?
Incorrect.
England?
Think mountains.
Italy?
Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Switzerland?
Correct. The original version of this game show, not our game show, hosted by Bill Cullen, premiered in 19 what? Well, first of all, let's do the show.
82.
What was the show?
To tell the truth?
No.
Oh, boy.
And what's my line?
No. It's still on TV, I do believe. I'm not a big game show watcher.
Price is Right?
The Price is Right. It's and what was the year?
1956.
Very good.
I vaguely
That is
What
correct.
was that movie Quiz Show? Do you remember that movie Quiz Show
Yes.
about the controversies? And I remember being referenced.
Who was, by the way, who was Bill Cullen married to? Or did we ever know or even care? I just threw that out. That's not on the list. Move on. What movie, and I do remember this, I might have gotten this right. Did Andy Griffith make his film debut in?
No Time for Sergeants?
That was a good guess. But incorrect.
Movie, huh?
Yes. It had to do with part of the human body as one word in the title, and the other had to do with a synonym of an audience. And the anatomy would be above the neck.
Head and theater.
You're
head,
stumped on
theater.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay, help you out. A face
In the crowd.
in the crowd. Very good. All right, let's move on and turn things around a little bit with this question. You're going to have a hard time. Name the character he portrayed in The Face in the Crowd. Yeah, that's really tough. Larry Lonesome Rhodes. I wouldn't. Yeah. Who sang? This will get you on the right track. Who sang the hit single "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree"?
Brenda.
Brenda Lee.
Brenda Lee. I like. See, Brenda, you stuttered long
I
enough
was
to her
trying
to
to say
say
Lee.
Lee. So you each get a point on that.
We'll
All
split
right.
the point.
In 1961, Coca-Cola introduced what soda? In 1961,
Would it be?
Sprite.
what'd you say?
Sprite.
Sprite is correct.
Oh.
Here was the clue: lemon lime.
Yeah.
What two Golden Age stars in 1962 played in a romantic comedy, That Touch of Pink? Who were the stars?
There's
Two-
one called Touch of Mink, with Rock Hudson and Doris Day.
No, That Touch of Pink.
Touch of Pink.
And they were from the Golden Age, right? So we
Yes,
were back
mhm.
into the 30s.
One was an actress who was perhaps even better known as a singer, one of my favorite singers. And she was a big animal rights.
Doris Day.
Doris Day, correct.
I think, yeah. And who was the other? Was it Rock Hudson?
Rock
No.
Hudson.
No,
Cary Grant.
Cary Grant is correct.
Oh.
What Ohio-based 1968 NFL team, Tyrus, played its first season of football?
Okay, so you said Ohio.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cleveland.
Got to be the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, well, you're both wrong.
Oh.
Okay.
Cincinnati
So
Bengals.
there you go.
Cincinnati
There was no
Bengals.
one.
I was trying to
Certain wasn't the Columbus Clippers.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job. What was the name of Joe Friday's partner on Dragnet?
Oh my gosh.
Gannon.
Oh,
Dannon is correct for the last name. What was his first name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan? No, incorrect.
Frank.
That was the Cardinals coach
No.
that just got fired.
What's that?
Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, that's
True.
good guess.
Okay, Harry Morgan played it.
I'll give you a clue.
I was just throwing something silly out there.
What's the name for folding money?
Cash.
Or here's another. What's another name for an invoice?
Bill.
Bill.
Gannon.
Okay. What was Mary Richards' profession on the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
She was a newscaster, weather girl.
No.
No, she was the secretary, kind of the news writer in the newsroom.
Well,
Newscaster. Yeah.
the word news I'll accept, but the second word you don't have correct. You said reporter. Did you say who puts the show together?
Oh, producer.
Producer.
That's very good. John Paul II became the first non-Italian pope since 1523. What country was he from? John Paul II.
Poland.
Poland is correct.
Oh.
In Cheers, and this is for Tyrus,
Okay.
in Cheers, and he probably has never seen Cheers, what profession was Sam Malone's before he owned the bar?
Oh, baseball player?
That is correct. Very good. Sarah for Tyrus. What was the actor's name? You see him on,
Ted
what
Danson.
is it? Well, it's supposed
Ted
to be for
Danson.
Tyrus.
I was-
Oh, Ted Danson.
Yeah.
There we go.
Tyrus had a look. Tyrus, this is called an assist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all
So
right.
there's a sports theme for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd played together in what movie?
Trading places.
I was just going to say.
Trading Places is correct. And what was the year?
1983.
Very good.
believe
I don't
that.
agree. You seem to have a pornographic, I mean, a photographic mind. Photographic, a slip of the tongue.
Leave my experience coming out of this.
What is the name of Martin Crane's beloved dog on Frasier?
Oh, Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie is
that's
correct.
right.
You guys, I can't get over what you,
Yeah.
the trivia you know. What city is the setting for in Nash Bridges?
Oh, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I
left
love
my,
that show.
That Barracuda,
The
the
Barracuda,
yellow
yep.
Plymouth Barracuda.
you guys are killing this quiz this
So
morning. He
that was
needs
the
to get
bonus one.
things
What car
harder.
did he drive is what we're
What TV network launched with the slogan, "Where the past comes alive"?
The History Channel.
That is correct. And what is the most common found element on Earth?
Lead? I don't know.
Incorrect. Well, we're ending on a low note.
Element. Element?
Yes.
Uranium?
Okay.
No.
Carbon.
Carbon is correct, ladies and gentlemen. And there we end the quiz. A plus for the panel. We breezed through it. We? What do you mean we, Roger? You had
we
nothing to. You just asked the questions, Dodo.
You were there for moral support. is what
Yeah.
you were.
Well done. Well, we have A's for everybody in the class. 33 current temperature, and we're going to warm up to 36. And we continue with our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet.
Seatbelts save lives. We've been told this for many years, and some of us know firsthand that it's a true statement. Sadly, some of us know animals that have been killed in a car accident or caused the accident because they were unrestrained. One woman I know recently survived an accident only to find her Yorkie that had been on her lap was crushed by the steering wheel. I know it's just not natural or a part of our routine to buckle up our pets in the car, but maybe it should be. There are now some car models that can be ordered with built-in pet seat belts. A simple harness attachment can be purchased at any pet store for any car model. As with all small children, riding in the front seat is also not advisable for your pets. The airbags on deployment have such force that they can kill your pet. Accidents can occur if a dog tangles with the driver, so it's best to keep your pet in the back seat. Cats should always be in a carrier as their movements can be dangerously erratic. Cats' sense of hearing and balance makes them very poor car occupants. Regardless of state seatbelt laws, here is an important note for all pet owners. The states of Hawaii, Connecticut, Illinois, and Maine have banned motorists from driving with pets in their laps. Other states are considering laws similar to this one. So be sensible, be careful, be loving, and protect this member of your family with his own seatbelt.
This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, we have a warning, a watch about weather becoming bitterly cold. That probably means, and people do respond to weather forecasts and so forth, and head for the grocery stores. What are the things that you feel with that kind of foreboding forecast outlook about bad weather? What are the things that when you go to the grocery store you want to make sure you get? What are the most important items that motivate you to get to the grocery store and make sure we ride this storm out with having to go outside?
It seems that bread and milk seem to be.
I would say milk would be my biggest
Yeah,
thing.
milk. And yet milk is one of those continues to be somewhat controversial. Some people think adults should be drinking milk, and I love it. So bread and milk, and that's it. How about, are there any other vital staples, like
Some people would say beer.
soups, like like beer, or wine or whatever?
Yeah.
I would include soups.
Soups
on the agenda as a food item that I want to make sure I have plenty of in the household.
Some things you
Cereal.
can make that could be there for multiple
cereal.
days.
Things
you
that,
know?
like frozen pizzas.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I have seen, whether it's warnings about snow, people hanging around the cold storage units or whatever they call those suckers, getting pizza.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces that was popular years ago, and I was going to ask our distinguished panel, do you remember Butch's Pizza?
I do.
Yep.
Is
still around.
Is that still popular?
Still around, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Just saw it the other day.
Yeah. And I think that company was founded by a Manual High School
It
athlete.
was actually, one of my high school classmates was the son of the founder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we
Do
go.
you
We got a
remember what
Butch's
what
Pizza
is
fan.
his
Well,
name?
So my high school classmate was Tim Carey. And I
Yeah,
think
I'm
his
trying to
dad and
think.
uncle was the founder.
Royce introduced me to him
good
at
pizza.
one time, but I forget the name.
It's in the bars.
Good morning. What do you think of the weather?
It's cold.
Officer friendly.
But actually, it's a lot cooler, or should I say, the temperature's higher than it was yesterday. Because yesterday, I went to go out the front door, and I usually warm up my vehicle, and I take the puppy to the mailbox, and he's like, "Nah, man, I'm cool. I'm okay. I'm all right. I don't want to go."
He
I
said,
said, "What do you
"See
mean
you
you want to go to
later."
the mailbox?" He said, "Nah, Dad, I'm cool." I said, "You pee in this house, or your mom gonna put you in the kennel?" He said, "Well, I'll try to go out real quick with it, man. It is cold."
Yeah, it is cold. I know, Ed, you probably can't comment on it, but you can say whether you were or not. Did you, were you called to help break up the fight among the girls at Richards High School?
I was actually at Manual High School serving and protecting, so that's where I was at. So I
You were
wasn't
on the
there.
other
I
side
wasn't
of
even
town.
at that school.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep. So,
Isn't it true?
And
Isn't it true, Senator, that girls, when they fight, they're a little more vicious and physical than the guys?
that is an understatement, Uncle Roger.
I would second that. If anybody that's been in schools can
When
say that.
when they
correct.
go at it, they go at it, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And you know the thing is, this is the thing. Truthfully, as a man and a father of daughters, you would think that you was like, "Hey, young lady, calm down," and they'll give you this look like a feral cat. You're like, you know what? Okay, you go ahead and do what you got to do, and then I'm gonna stop you afterwards.
Exactly.
I'm serious. It happens so fast. It's just like, whoa, what happened here? Because they go from, "Hey, how you doing?" to, "What do you say about my eyelashes?" And then it's all.
And when the shoes come off, it's look out, right?
Yeah, buddy, the earrings come off, and the shoes, and
The shoes
sleeves
come
roll
off,
up.
and the
guys,
braids.
at least, yeah, guys usually come up to you, and they taking their shirt off and rolling their sleeves up. They give you time to get ready to sock the guy up. Girls, it's on and popping. I'm serious. You just don't know what happened, and I don't know. like I say, you know how I feel about all these things in situations, Uncle Rogers. I pray that the world can find peace because we are in a chaotic situation as of late, man. It's just everywhere. It's all type of turmoil going on, and I just don't know. I try to think as a person that was a youth.
The youth
what
again.
did we do and what was so different? And I think a lot of it has to do with because of the forms of punishment that we got. I mean, I think they was just, it seemed like it was harsh at the time, but I think it was needed. And it's a lack of it, like this accountability.
You know, Ed, we had talked about this allegedly, and I never saw it or heard it, but I heard about it, about when guys would get into an argument, that some coaches would say, okay, let's go down to the gym, we'll put boxing gloves on it and let you guys settle it in a, not a ring, but close to a ring. But I don't think the ACLU or any legal organization will allow teachers to do that anymore, or coaches.
No, heck no.
Nope, that's what my fifth grade principal did. I never forget it. We had these old Army boxing gloves. They felt like they weighed 20 pounds a piece. And he said, put them on. He tied them up. He said, you got a minute. Get it out your system. And as soon as you punch the guy or he punch you, it's 2 or 3 things in your brain happen. One, you be like, man, this ain't what I really thought it was. I'm not as mad as I thought I was. And then you want to hug it out, be like, I'm sorry, we cool. And then you went on and you guys was friends afterwards. Or another guy, one guy pummeled the other guy and he said, okay, that's enough. Bet you shut your mouth next time, won't you? Now go back to class. That's what it was. It was just, I don't know.
And your audience was right in front of you, too, wasn't it? It wasn't posted online or anything. There was no media.
No, I remember those doors where it should have been, and it's like, keep this crap quiet and cut it out. Y'all know better. Y'all knew better. And then if I got to call your parents, you're like, no, don't call my dad because that's a death sentence. I'd rather just get in trouble with me. I'll clean the erasers. I'll wipe off the chalkboards, whatever. Just don't tell my parents because if my parents worked 2 jobs apiece. So you know, they worked their butts off to give me the life that I had. And for them to do that and then you cutting up and you know the rules, you can cancel Christmas, buddy, because it's over for you.
Back then, there was no court of appeals, was there?
No. Nah. Judge, jury, executioner,
That's
right there on the spot.
Except yelling,
I remember my dad told my brother got lippy with my dad one time. He said, let me tell you something, boy. He said, I'll take you out and make another one look just like you. I was like, yep. He told my brother that, and I heard that, and I was like, I don't need to have that disagreement with Dad. I understand. He gave him that look like, you think I'm playing test me? Hey, look, it wasn't me. Like I said, my brother, he pulled it off. And once he said that to him, I was like, the old man ain't playing. So it is what it is. Different time period.
Yeah, it's too bad that teachers or coaches can't break up fights. Said, you don't want to settle it? Let's put gloves on. Let's go down to the gym. Because the methodology being used today doesn't seem to be working. And as the late Jerry Brady said, a lot of these fights and conflicts are the result of what's being said on social media.
There you go.
Yep.
That's it. Yep. That's it, 100%. Because it's easy to talk tough behind a keyboard or on a cell phone, but when you're in person with somebody, it's a different story because it's like, what was that you were saying? And then next thing you know, you're like, and then you get caught. So it's like, and a lot of times they just trying to show off for other people, like you said, because online you got a bunch of followers and people, ooh, you gonna let them say that to you? And then there's people instigating and all that. There's always been people that instigated stuff, but you know, sometimes it just goes a little too far. It goes too far. Well, I just wanted to call and say good morning.
Well, good morning to you.
You.
All right, God bless you. Drive carefully and stay warm, my friend.
You too. God bless. Peace and blessings. Hey, and one thing you need to get during this cold, the main thing you need to get is a nice blanket to snuggle up with your significant other. And if you ain't got one, you better get a pet.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
All right, you guys have a blessed day.
All right, thank you. Eddie Murphy, also known as Eddie Parker. You know, he would be good in a movie like Eddie Murphy. He's witty, he's quick on his feet, and he's big. and that helps as well. We have news, weather, sports at the top of the hour. You're having breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAGU, FM 90.7 in wonderful Peoria, Illinois, and also welcome on YouTube as well. In the next hour, we're going to talk about legal affairs with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan. Stay tuned. Pleasant good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 21st of January. We start with a check of the weather, and it's brought to you as a service of Morton Community Banks with over 50 branches across central and northwestern Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. And we have time to let you know we have a hazardous weather outlook due to strong winds today and tonight, followed by extreme cold weather Friday with wind chill values to 25 below. That extreme cold watch, as the National Weather Bureau is calling it, will be in effect from 3 early Friday morning until Friday noon. Otherwise today, cloudy, then becoming sunny, windy, and warmer with a high today, 36, partly cloudy and cold tonight. 30% chance for snow and a low of 18. How about tomorrow? Cloudy, windy, a high of 31 tomorrow night. Partly cloudy, windy, and very cold, a low 4 below. Friday, cold day, a high of only 3 degrees on Friday, 6 below Friday night. Saturday, we're up to 10. Saturday night, 4 degrees, and a good chance for snow Saturday night, by the way. Right now, our temperature at 33 degrees, and let's get into the news with Terry and Dave.
Well, President Trump, along with millions of Americans, can't understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision has yet been made about men playing as females, while also dressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Liberal Justice Brown Jackson seemed to be arguing on behalf of males who want to play women's sports, as did Justice Sotomayor.
Last June, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males on female teams. Now, we'll talk about this issue with Peoria defense attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning.
Speaking of the president, after having to change planes, he's on his way to Davos, Switzerland, to meet with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them are angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. A Danish official has already used the F word, like the mayor of Minneapolis, to express his thoughts about Trump. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending this summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today in what could be a hostile environment.
The country's Justice Department isn't happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. It's part of a DOJ investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. Many Americans are wondering why no one was arrested after the invasion of a St. Paul, Minnesota church service by a group of protesters last Sunday morning.
U.S. forces have taken over another Venezuelan oil tanker. The latest apprehension took place in the Caribbean. If you're keeping score, that makes 7 vessels who the Trump administration says violated the boycott.
Turning to local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. The victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation.
A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least one count of theft.
Details have been released about a big fight at Richwoods High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families, and 2 of them were injured.
Police were called yesterday morning to a one-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for treatment. The other 2 remain at large.
Police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Gurr after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest.
It took about an hour and a half, but President Trump ticked off a long list of his accomplishments after 1 year in the White House. Trump told reporters he brokered the end of 8 wars in the world and put an end to the daily rush of immigrants into the United States. Trump said the country's borders have never been more secure.
He also said gas prices have dropped, as have many grocery items. He gave credit to the imposition of tariffs for producing the largest amount of revenue in the history of the United States. He also took credit for new proposals to reduce the cost of prescription drug prices. And that is our news headlines for this period.
All right, thank you. And we have more news from WCBU. Brought to you by Advanced Medical Transport, the provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance services, not only here in central Illinois, but western and eastern Illinois as well. There are more than 500, count them, AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care. Saving lives is what they do. And now more news from WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Bradley University and Illinois Central College are forming a transfer partnership. It's to create a seamless pathway between the higher ed schools while boosting the greater Peoria workforce. Bradley President James Chaddid says the Path to BU agreement represents a critical step for both institutions.
We're neighbors. We both have the same goals and missions and vision about higher education, and it just makes sense.
ICC Interim President Bruce Buddy says the program fortifies an already strong relationship with Bradley. A provision tucked in the fine print of Congress's Big Beautiful Bill could escalate a severe nursing shortage in central Illinois. Nurses pursuing graduate degrees will see new limits on federal student loan borrowing this fall. OSF Healthcare Chief Executive for Nurses and Advanced Practice Providers, Melinda Cooling, says that disrupts worker pipelines.
On the nursing side, this could be a big influence on those that are pursuing advanced practice degrees, as well as those who may become future faculty.
Borrowing is capped at $100,000 for nurses in graduate school. Senate Republicans say they have introduced a bill to repeal the requirement to use only renewable energy by 2050. This comes after the state passed a bill that invests in wind and solar energy to bolster the state's energy grid. Senator Sally Turner, who represents parts of Tazewell and Woodford counties, opposed the measure.
When it comes to, I need assistance with my energy bill because we know that's out of control right now. A lot of it, I think we see that it's going to special interests.
Turner says she supports lifting the state's moratorium on new large-scale nuclear power plants that's included in the law. And a former elementary school administrator in Tazewell County is facing felony theft charges for using the school's financial accounts for personal gain. 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings worked as the secretary and financial officer for Spring Lake Elementary in Manitou. She's accused of misusing school-issued credit cards and checks totaling more than $150,000 in unauthorized spending. Rawlings was taken into custody Monday afternoon. I'm Courtney Conroy.
Hey, it's time for sports, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a Wednesday morning. That means Tyrus Gillian is here. What do you have, Tyrus?
All right, thank you, Roger. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. They are 13-7 after losing to Illinois State University 88-62. They look to get back on the winning track tonight against Indiana State at 6. It is a home game, so Go buy your tickets, huh? Bradley girls basketball are 11-7 after losing to Northern Iowa 73-70. The next game is Friday versus Vallisparos. This Friday at 6. It is a home game. Other news, Illinois basketball. They are 15-3 after beating Minnesota 77-67. The next game is tonight against Maryland at 6 p.m. at home. The college football championship, Indiana beats Miami 27-21. NFL news, as you know, the Bears season ended in overtime against the Rams 20-17. They had their opportunities in this one to move on to the championship round, but it's all over for them. No more magic this year. One of the other big coaches fired is Bills coach Sean McDermott. So they will be looking for a new coach. NFL championship round, the Patriots and Broncos at 2 p.m. this Sunday, and the Rams versus the Seahawks later that day at 5:30 p.m. NHL news, the Blackhawks, who are 20-22-7 after shutting out the Winnipeg Jets 2-0. 32 saves from Spencer Knight and Connor Bedard with a goal, and Jason Dickinson had one also. They play tomorrow versus the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow at 6 p.m. The St. Louis Blues lose last night 3-1 versus the Winnipeg Jets. They play again Friday at 7 versus the Dallas Stars. In the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 21-22 after blowing out the Clippers last night 138-110. They play tomorrow away versus the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 p.m. The Bulls are also expecting Josh Giddey to be back in the lineup for this game. MLB news, Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are now in the Hall of Fame as of yesterday. Luis Robert has been traded from the White Sox to the New York Mets for Luis Angel Acuna and right-hander Tremaine Pauly to the Chicago White Sox. And that's our sports report. Back to you guys.
Yeah, I have a question for you. I know you're into sports and hockey and all things sports. At any rate, figure this out. The Blackhawks, not really a great team this year,
Right.
nor are the Blues for that matter. The Blackhawks shut out Winnipeg, as you reported. Winnipeg goes down and thumps St. Louis 3-1.
Yep.
And how do you figure that?
I don't know. That's just one of those things, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe we matched up better against them.
Good coaching.
But also,
I like that.
It was cool because Jonathan Taves, that was his return to Chicago. I forgot to mention this.
That's him right there.
Yeah, the captain. So he got a big old ovation too. So it was pretty cool.
Well, he's a cool guy.
Oh yeah. He was one of the best.
All right. There you have sports, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrus bring you all the latest, and good job, as always. You know, with this story about the school secretary, and she was their, quote, financial expert or officer for the grade school. What do you think motivates people? Because they have to realize, and apparently they don't because they get caught, that they're going to get caught. What do you think are the reasons why people steal when they are entrusted with money, and big money? I mean, let's face it, she's charged with stealing over $150,000. I think the word is embezzlement. But what do you think, panel? What motivates people to steal?
I've seen this several times, in a career, especially in school settings, because number one, probably a lack of accounting and oversight. So you start small, get away with that. Okay, yeah, that worked. So now the hole gets a little deeper, and then it gets deeper. And at some point, there's a point where this happened, got away with this, I'll fix it later, and it doesn't. It's like a snowball that keeps going and going until at one point, wow, that's a lot of money. Can't turn back because I'm guilty. I wonder if I can get away with this, and so forth and so on. It comes down to accounting procedures, the process that was allowed to happen in the first place, no matter how small. Could be as much as little as $10. once that $10 goes missing and, hey, nothing happened, let's go bigger. And then you throw in the other ideas of perhaps personal debt, things like that, need a constant source of money. Not that, I'm not saying that gambling was it, but that could be one reason.
It's a big reason.
Yeah, you see that quite often.
Medical, somebody's
medical
into
and,
a bind and they need...
One of the common things you've seen in cases like this over and over again, whether it's school settings, look, for instance, at what happened in Dixon, Illinois, a few years ago with the city comptroller, and she put that city in a world of hurt. We're talking millions of dollars.
Yes.
She had that horse farm, the horse racing, and it became expensive. Second, there was no oversight. She was in charge of the money. She was the last answer. Why not? And after a while of doing it and getting away with it, let's go a little bigger. And then I think what happens is that there's a whole, it's kind of like if I have a piece of donut in front of me, not that they're behind me there, and I eat one donut, I'm going to have another piece of donut. I'm going to go, hey, that worked. It tasted good. It went, let's go a little bigger. And next thing you know, you're eating donuts every day, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 donuts. You can't stop because they're great. There's all kinds of reasons for that. But I think the bottom line is lack of oversight.
Now, you have a background in accounting and bookkeeping, and you handled a lot of money, and it was a huge responsibility. What kept you from not stealing money,
Integrity,
as far as we know?
Integrity and the way I was raised.
Yeah.
It's my faith, and it's like, God sees everything, always watching, and you just don't do that. I mean, again, that's just how I was raised. It's instilled in you, and it's somebody else's money, and so you take extra special care of it.
Yeah. I had an interesting experience that I shared with my dad did. He had a barber shop in the 3000 block of North Adams, and he had an opportunity to buy the Peoria Barber College in downtown Peoria at 422 South Adams Street. So he bought the Barber College and turned the operation of his 3-chair barber shop over to one of his barbers, and would every now and then drive up to check on things and maybe get the day's earnings or whatever the case may be. And one day, but his visits were always unannounced. I mean, he just did it because there was no, it wasn't a planned sort of thing. You know what, I think I'll go check on how things are at the barber college. Well, one day when I walked in, the head barber who was managing it, on the register, he had stacks of bills, dollar bills, $5 bills, $10 bills, and so forth. And he said to the guy, and I'm going to say Bob, and that wasn't his name, but everybody, all the principals are deceased, so no reason to hide, but nonetheless I will. Said, Bob, what's all this money doing on top of the register? Well, Zach, I've been so busy I haven't had time to ring it up. Well, the light bulb went on and said, when you start seeing money stacked up on the register, is it busy or is it because it's not as accountable? So he finally challenged him, not that day, but he came up the next week unannounced, and it was still there after my dad said, get it into the register. He was still doing it. So when everybody was gone, Dad said, you're stealing money from me, aren't you? And he confessed, and he said, yes. He says, don't do it again, okay? We aren't going to do anything. I know you have needs because you had 3 children, and they lived, and one of the kids I ran around with. So, at any rate, to make a long story short, he caught him again. So what did he do? He didn't call police. He said, I'm going to move you down to the barber college, and I'm going to make you an instructor, and you'll get a salary. And that's how he ended it. He was within his rights, obviously, to have him prosecuted, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. For what reasons? Just as you said, he just felt like that was not the right thing to do, and he said the guy apparently had some bills, including medical bills, and some challenges to put food on the table for the children. But I think one of the great motivators for stealing is gambling. I've always felt that there are a lot of people who gamble at the riverboat or other casinos, and gambling is as addictive as eating chocolates for
really.
me.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's and it becomes the house always wins, as they say, right? It becomes
Oh, yeah.
a perpetual
100%.
hole that you dig, and then it becomes habit. And you got to feed that habit, no matter what. Like you said earlier, some of us do it through food. They have to need money and a constant source of money.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think that's going back to what you said, Terry. Obviously, integrity. Most of us are governed by that personal code of conduct, and hopefully everybody has it, but not everybody does.
Not everybody does.
Unfortunately, how do you legislate that?
You brought that story up about the woman. I'm trying to think of her name. And Terry, I don't know you. I don't think were with us at the time, but we developed a relationship with a female reporter at the radio station in the town. I want to say, was it up near where?
It was Dixon.
Dixon, Illinois.
Dixon,
'Cause my sister lives there, so that's how I know.
Yeah, it was Dixon, Illinois, because I was thinking of Ronald Reagan. And Dixon was one town. What was the other town that linked?
Tampico.
Tampico.
That's where he was born, yeah.
Exactly. And we developed a relationship with a reporter at the radio station who was absolutely delightful. And almost 2 or 3 times a week, we would check in, because the story reached national prominence, as a matter of fact.
She had a horse. Her name was Rita Crundwell.
Good, nice going that you would remember that. Oh, you well.
But I do remember. I remember Rita. I just couldn't remember the last name.
And she was the city's financial officer, was
Comptroller.
she not?
Yep.
And as you rightly said and described, she was the owner of a horse farm, and she had championship horses. Now, I happen to know someone who has horses, and that's not a inexpensive vocation or avocation.
And
as
she
a
was
matter of
known
fact.
nationally for her horses. I mean,
They were championship horses, right? And she had a big trailer that she pulled around, and that put that city. I don't even know if the insurance totally covered, because didn't it go into the millions of dollars?
I remember my sister lives in Dixon, and so they were saying that they were, their school district, their fire department, their police, they were
everybody hurting for money.
Yeah, because there was lots of it going. I mean, we're talking not just one, but many millions of dollars.
Yeah. Didn't they have an auction to sell things?
I think that's
sell
I
the
think that's
horses to try to recoup some of the losses.
And they got some
that
of
weren't
it back,
covered.
but you're never going to get.
Never got all
Plus,
of it
also
back.
never mind that the public distrust of elected officials who were doing their job.
Now, here's the question: where is she today? She went to prison.
Question. Yeah, she did serve.
Did she?
I think she's released by now. I think. I remember reading something, but I don't know where and how, and hopefully not around here.
I think I did hear a story. She's now raising dogs. No,
there you go.
I made that up. That's not true, Roger.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, 33 degrees, and we're not going to get much warmer, but we'll take it a high of 36. We'll be right back after this very important message.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Yeah, everybody is a historian with a cell phone today, and Dave Holtz, you had share with our audience the details of what you just looked up. About Rita Cromwell,
the Dixon comptroller. She stole $53.9 million over 20 years.
$53 million?
It is ranked now as the largest municipal fraud in U.S. history. So that's where her asterisk in the history books, I guess. She was sentenced to
And
prison, and
what was,
evidently
what
still
was the sentence?
19 years. It said. So I don't know. I think she's still in. I'm not sure if she's on probation. I don't know.
I know they said the light is on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
We'll
true.
leave the light on for Rita.
We'll leave the light on,
for
yeah.
that matter. What did your since you had a relative living up there?
Yep.
What were her personal details? Was she married? Did she have children?
Yeah, at one point she was married. I think she's
I'm
probably
sure he's
got divorced after that.
I would say,
Yeah, but early on was kind of considered a respected member. I mean, she's very professional. I think people just didn't know. They thought, oh, we're not making much money. Well, yeah, you are. You're just not keeping that money. And so, but again, who knows what the oversight was
well,
like.
the shadow knows.
Yeah.
You know, that also raises a question. Who knew in the family? The husband had to raise some questions about, where are you getting all this money, honey?
Yeah,
you know, she comes home with a new Lexus and a fur coat and this and that. Wouldn't the husband say, what's going on? Oh, don't worry about it, George.
Yeah, we got it covered.
I've got everything under control. I'm making some very wise investments called embezzlement. But don't worry about it because things are.
Yeah.
And maybe he thought, you know, I don't know about numbers. I don't know financial matters and so forth. So I just wonder at what point did a red flag go up and he would get concerned. If he had known in one form or another, he could have been considered a, quote, co-conspirator, could he not have been?
That's true.
So,
As Paul Harvey said, and now the rest of the story.
You know, the rest of the story. And you just wonder how more frequent this stealing a little bit here and a little bit there goes on, and they never catch them.
That's true. That's true. We would hope
We
that
don't
most of
know.
us are public servants and we have that integrity.
Yeah.
And like you said, whether it's faith-based, your own personal code of ethics, we hope that that's how most people think. And I still believe in the human spirit. I think most of us are that way.
Yeah, I believe that. And now Tyrus, who worked in a retail store, Casey's in Princeville.
Oh, great pizza.
What would happen? How did you balance the books at the end of the day, or the manager of it? And I doubt whether at the end of the day everything balanced. Is that true? Does everything, Terry? You know, you were a bookkeeper, and
When you're dealing with cash, especially cash registers, it is tough sometimes because somebody will slip and give the wrong amount of change.
Absolutely, I'd be terrible at it.
I know when I started at Sky Harbor, we had the big old-fashioned cash register.
Yeah.
I mean, you punch in the buttons and you had to be able to make change. And there were, but maybe at the end of the night it might come up, like say $5 short. And of course, I wasn't the only one getting into the cash register either. So it wasn't always just on me. If you got several people getting in, that really changes the dynamics of it. But you had to know those things. Well, by the time I left, we had the computerized one, so it didn't make much easier. You put in 20, oh yeah, here's your change and all that. But still, if people can't make change, they don't know what it is. You grab a nickel for a quarter, something like that. It does come up short, and most of the times you account for that. But when you're talking big amounts of money,
Missing.
and I dealt with huge amounts of cash on a daily basis at the auction, and I think somebody had been of a lesser quality.
Yeah.
You could easily have, here's $5
Right.
here, or here's a receipt, and then don't put that, and it could build and build and build. But
Who looked over your shoulder? You had to have somebody that
Nope.
would
No,
So
nobody.
you were totally in full control.
I was.
Wow, awesome responsibility.
It was.
So Tyrus, at the end of the day, did you do any accounting, or was that all the manager and assistant manager's responsibility?
They mostly did the book stuff, but like we would have like an end of shift type deal where everybody would count like, oh, here's this.
And didn't you cash out your drawer if you had been doing it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then that's what we would do. You cash out your drawer. End of the nights, you just put everything.
Yeah.
But how did
into
you
the safe?
How did you know that maybe early in the day somebody gave too much money back or not enough money? How did those errors surface, or did they not surface? Did you always know at the end of the day, everybody was perfect, nobody screwed up?
Oh, no, because you knew what you started with in your drawer.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking when I gave the waitresses, I made it their banks. And so they had little bags that they worked out of all night long. And so then at the end of the night, they knew what their base was, and then you had to cover that with you. And like so when you're high store, you start with this, and you know from your receipts what you've in and out, and you might be usually had a spot for like an over or short, right? Like maybe.
Yeah, and those messes aren't as bad as when you start to see like
chunks.
Yeah.
We always
there's something up.
Chunks?
Well, yeah, big chunks.
Okay.
We always did school budgets where we totaled up when we had to deposit any cash that came in from textbooks. We'd do this. Clerk, she'd count the money. Our secretary counted up. I would look at it. We would both sign off, so that way we in effect had a witness of each other. We knew exactly where the numbers were and double checked it. Never delegate it. Deposit yourself, and then put another sheet so somebody else was watching. Kind of a check because again, I was always I didn't want to touch it.
Well,
money.
I actually, I must admit this is the first time I'm sharing with you. At the end of the show, when everybody's gone, I count the number of donuts. I want to know just how many donuts you all snarf down during the show, so that I know whether or not you're entitled to a bonus or not. All right, Kevin Sullivan's here. And we'll talk to Kevin in just a moment, but first let's bring you up to date with the news and the weather at the bottom of the hour. For investment questions and information, consider Bob Manning of the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley in Peoria. Bob, Senior Vice President, has been in the investment advisory field now for more than 27 years. His telephone number, 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. Terry has the news.
President Trump, along with millions of Americans, cannot understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision has yet been made about men playing as females, while also dressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Last June, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines, supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee, which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males on female teams. We'll talk about the issue with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan at 7:30 this morning. Speaking of the president, he's on his way to Davos, Switzerland, to meet with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them were angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending the summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today. The country's Justice Department isn't happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. As part of a DOJ investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. In local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. However, the victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation. A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least one count of theft. Details have been released about a big fight of Ridgewood High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families. 2 of them were injured. Police were called yesterday morning to a one-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for a treatment. The other 2 remain at large. And police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Greer after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out, surprise, the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, now we have a check of the weather, and it's brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates, providing a comprehensive range of insurance products, including personal, auto, home, life, and medical coverage. Sammy specializes in Medicare plans and options, something he's been doing during his 40 years in the business. Sam knows insurance, and we want you to know how to reach him at 309-245-4374. We have a hazardous weather outlook due to strong winds today and tonight, followed by extreme cold weather Friday with wind chill values to 25 below. You heard right, 25 below. That extreme cold watch, as the National Weather Bureau is calling it, in effect starting early Friday morning, 3 a.m. until Friday noon. Otherwise today, cloudy, then becoming sunny, windy, and warmer with a high of 36. Partly cloudy and cold tonight with a 30% chance for snow, a low of 18. Tomorrow, cloudy, windy, and a high of 31. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, windy, and cold, a low 4 below. Friday, bitterly cold, a high of only 3, and we will reach 6 below Friday night. Saturday, we're up to 10, and Saturday night, 4 degrees the overnight low. And by the way, Saturday night, a good chance for snow. Right now, we are at 34 degrees. And right now, we have on this Wednesday morning our usual visit and conversation with Peoria Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan. A lot on the plate, but before we get into other issues and items, I want to revisit, and we've talked about it. You don't have to be an attorney, in my opinion, and I'm not denigrating those like you have law degrees, but you don't have to be an attorney to recognize men should not be playing on women's basketball teams or softball teams. Do you have to be an attorney?
No. You know, certain things transcend the law. And maybe it's the law of mankind, maybe it's biology, maybe it's God's law, maybe it's evolution, whatever your preference is. But men and women were created different. And that's, you know, or they were developed different. And how that happened, you know, was it the chicken or was it the egg? I mean, it's just a fact. And, you know, I mean, if you look at the Bible, God created Adam, and then he took a rib and then created Eve. So, as Archie Bunker said, it was a cheaper cut of meat. You know,
it was Archie who said that.
Yeah,
okay.
he did. And so, you know, but no, there's, you know, men are stronger. Men are typically bigger. You know, and women are softer, curvier. They, you know, the primary functions of a man and woman are obviously biologically different. And, you know, I don't care, you know, you can take, let me see if I can get this right. You can take, you know, the man, let's say you can take the male out of the male's body, or at least call him something else, but he still has a male's body, you know, and he's probably got stronger legs, jumps higher, runs faster, et cetera, and I don't know how you can legislate around that. And the disadvantages are inherent that I don't think we can do anything about. I think we need to accept it. And if somebody says, you know, well, I'm going to transfer from being a male to a female because, you know, I just feel that way. Well, fine, go about life as it is, but don't go then start playing on the women's team because you're going to have still a biological that you can't do anything about. You can't take the biology out of the person. And so, you know, no. And I don't, you know, this is my own prediction. I think you're going to see the Supreme Court come back and say Title IX does not allow, and they're going to ban males from playing on females' team and protect that situation. I don't think it'll be unanimous by any means, but I do think it will be the majority opinion when it comes down to it.
You know what bothers me is I think it's become political because it's the Democrats on the Supreme Court who are supporting men playing on sports. And I don't understand that. It shouldn't be a party, but it is. It'll probably be what some people are predicting, a 6-3
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little higher than that.
7-2 maybe.
7-2, 8-1. I think Justice Jackson may be a holdout in this situation because it's, you know, it's only fair you get to pick and choose, you know. And I mean, it's really sad. And I think there's certain things that ought to be left to mankind, you know, that predate man-made law or at least American law under the circumstances. But I don't think that's ever going to happen in our lifetimes going forward.
All right, let's move to a different subject. Were you surprised that the Department of Justice is issuing subpoenas to Minnesota state officials, including the governor and the Attorney General, Keith Ellison?
Well, you know, the subpoenas that were issued were primarily for materials and to see exactly what was going on. It's not just, you know, these individuals are under investigation, but they're trying to see what exactly they have in their coffers, not necessarily money, but what has been going on between, let's say, internal communications, governmental communications, things like that. So they're trying to build a case. Maybe they're not even really trying to build a case as much as really see what is going on up there, use it as a learning experience in case this comes up again. Or if they do uncover something, you know, then perhaps it's good. There will be some prosecutions. I don't see how they get around under the Supremacy Clause that they have not interfered in one way or another with federal investigations and federal agents that are on the ground lawfully pursuant to the law of the Congress. And so I think that is really the triggering point that may lead to, you know, some issues. I mean, this, you know, and I also think that the Minnesota officials are clearly using this to deflect the fraud situation and try to turn the tables. And I'm sure that the investigation and the subpoenas are looking for, let's in this case follow the money, see if any of this money, these $9 billion plus dollars, ended up in any of these politicians' pockets.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that really bothers me about what's going on in Minnesota took place Sunday at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota, and they had this professional agitator in the face of a little bald-headed fellow, and I'm, you know, I have an allegiance to people who are bald-headed for obvious reasons. And this guy's never been charged. You could at least charge him with disorderly conduct. I saw on the video a young girl hugging her father. She was scared to death, endangerment of a child. And these guys walk away doing what they were doing that under normal circumstances would have been arrested for at least disorderly conduct.
Well, trespassing, certainly. But, you know, and there's, yesterday I had a lot of windshield time, as I will today. And I was listening to one of the news channels yesterday, and they interviewed the head of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, and it was a female attorney, and she was really sharp. And she said, wait a second, by those people going into that church, that's kind of obviously hallowed ground, but it should be obstruction-free in a church, because you should not interfere with the person's right to religion. That's a civil rights violation, and in and of itself. And those people may get prosecuted. And it's interesting to see what has since happened to Don Lemon. He's had, from what I've read, all of his credentials have been stripped. His sponsors have turned it away. His podcast is going to be ending. And he's going to be in the target or in the bullseye of perhaps the Justice Department for what he did within that church. That was deplorable.
It was deplorable. Well, he's a deplorable person.
He is.
I think a lot of people
He's one of those
agree
deplorables, as Hillary says.
Yeah, exactly right. And I want to draw an analogy. You know, under the Biden administration, they sent some 1,500 people from the January 6th riots and protests and so forth. And they very carefully went through video identifying different people. I wonder if the Trump Justice Department is going to do the same thing with these people that you can see picking up rocks and then throwing them at the ICE vehicles as they leave areas and so forth. These people need to be in jail because these are organized and well-paid professionals by all independent accounts.
You know, I forget where it was in the country, but it was somewhere either late summer or early fall. The weather was nice. There were people standing out of an ICE facility, and when those SUVs came out, they weren't hurling rocks. They were hurling, humongous rocks, for lack of a better word, or maybe it's something big, but those projectiles, they did break some windows. Had they done it right, could have killed one of those people inside that car.
Right.
And I think they could have charged him and should have with attempted murder. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And they certainly have the technology to narrow down and get facial recognition as to these people. And they should be prosecuted. I mean, it's just, it's how, the big complaint I heard last night on one of the news channels was, they're just upsetting the people of Minnesota because these ICE officials, when they encounter somebody, are demanding their papers. Are you an American? Are you a citizen? Show them your driver's license. Show them your ID. Show them anything. If you show them a green card, I'm here legally. What's the harm when you look at the greater good as to what they're trying to do? And I think I saw last night Kash Patel was on, and just this year alone, the FBI's arrested like 73 to 76,000 people wanted, and they were people not just wanted, but they're people that also illegally entered this country, and they were the criminals. And as Trump said, we're not interested in the guy that's running the mom and pop store that might not be doing anything. We're looking to get the criminals off the street. Sometimes we've got a tough time because, are you going to profile these people? Probably to a certain extent you are, based on their looks or based on their mannerisms. But if the invasion is rather minimal, a police officer on any given day, anywhere in this country, can walk up to anybody on the street and ask them a question. But that person has the right to say, I'm not answering your question. Well, I'm sorry, it's friendly. I just wanted to know where a good place to have lunch was, or what have you. But a police officer can engage anybody for any reason at any time. If it becomes a custodial situation, if it becomes an investigatory situation, there are limits on that. But that's what exactly what used to happen in the days where you had beat cops that would walk around and say, "Hey, Charlie, what happened down at the who broke that window? Do you know?" And back then, people weren't afraid to talk to a police officer. Same thing in this situation. If ICE stops a vehicle full of, let's say, what appear to be foreigners, what's wrong with asking the question? And if they're all fine, let them go.
Sure. Switching gears a little bit, have you ever represented anyone who's been charged with embezzlement?
I have. And I heard the discussion earlier about Rita Crumwell. I got a couple funny stories. About 10 years ago, I was involved in a murder case up in Lee County. I was defending the accused. It was a case that came out of Peoria in the late 80s, early 90s, and that predated DNA evidence. And the prosecution back then just kind of came to a T in the intersection and couldn't go either way because they didn't have enough evidence, so they dismissed the case. Well, Rita Crumwell takes about $53 million out of the pockets of the people in Dixon. And by the way, they got most of that money back.
They did.
They did. I'm not going to mention the name of the firm, but it was an accounting firm in Peoria that was sued, and their bonding or insurance company came up with almost the entire amount and repaid the city of Dixon.
Terry, what was the name of your company? No, I'm just kidding.
So now that they're flush with money up there, okay, and they now said, well, let's start looking at some cold cases. So they took this case off the shelf. They now had a piece of evidence that was a piece of duct tape that had a blood stain on it. Well, they had that analyzed for DNA, and it came back to my client who lived in Peoria. Here we are off to the races. So I get in this case, and people are going to say this is kind of, I guess, lawyer-like, but my guy was just a neat guy. He was a great guy. He would help anybody in need, and he did. He used to cut all his neighbor's grass. This guy was just an all-around benevolent guy. But he gets arrested, and they pull one of these Mar-a-Lago things in Peoria where they brought in about 100 cars, and they lit up the neighborhood, and and he went peacefully, and we're able to get him out of jail. Thank God it was before the Safety Act. So, and so we're working the case, and I noticed that 2 detectives from the city of Dixon were working on this case, and they went out to Honolulu to talk to a witness about this. So they fly out Honolulu. They get there on a Thursday. They interview this witness on a Friday morning. And lo and behold, they decide, I think we're going to have to talk to this witness again. I think we got some unanswered questions. I think we need to follow up. For some reason, the guy wasn't available till the following Saturday, so about 8 days later. In the meantime, these guys are probably on Waikiki Beach, Monday through Friday before they did their concluding. I was hopefully going to have some fun with that on the stand, but we never got that far. But, that's just, they get flush with money, and here we go. And they were spending it like drunken sailors.
Yeah.
Not that I'm criticizing drunken sailors, but...
No, they're all right. So in the end, what was the...
We got it worked out for an aggravated battery and probation.
Really?
Mm-hmm. This was a drug deal that went bad.
Okay. We were talking earlier about what motivates people to steal. One is gambling, and addiction could be another one.
Simple, opportunity. Obviously, you get the opportunity, and as Dave was saying, well, I'm going to start with $10, and it's going to snowball because if I could get away with this, and now you get to the point where beyond the point of return. But, I think to a certain degree, if I remember right, isn't there, we were born with the 7 deadly sins, 2 of which are envy and 1 is greed, or 1 of which is envy, 1 of which is greed. So I think that's inherent in most of us, and we have to use our skills and our integrity and our resources to perhaps overcome that. But this was a drug deal that went bad, and there was a bad dude in Peoria who owed a lot of people some money, and some guys in Peoria went and rounded him up. This was back in the 80s, and they met in the Heights, and they ended up beating the guy up fairly significantly, and they put him in the trunk of a car, and one of the guys, wasn't my guy, but one of the guys involved in this, drove that car up to Lee County, and somewhere between Peoria and Lee County, the guy died, and what they did was they threw the body, they dismembered the body, and threw it into a hog pen, thinking the hogs were going to eat the evidence. Wrong. Hogs don't like human beings. They don't eat them. So the next day, the farmer found the guy dismembered, and that's how this thing started. So my guy wasn't the primary in the situation, but it all worked out in the end. But yeah, and Rita Cromwell was in Pekin for a long time, in Pekin prison.
I was going to say, when you have white-collar crime, they do make an attempt to separate those from murderers, rapists, and so forth, do they not?
Yeah. There's some great documentaries about her situation that are out there if you look them up on some of the streaming services.
Do you know where she is now? Is she still in Pekin?
She's out of custody. She was in a halfway house for quite a while up in the Oak Brook, Lombard area. I think she's since been released, and where she relocated, I don't know.
Yeah, it is, I guess, gratifying on the one hand, and the other somewhat of sympathy for a woman who had everything and now has nothing.
Well, you don't know what she has at this point because she puts the money aside for a rainy day when she got caught. Most people don't. They don't think that far ahead.
Well, she's a pretty smart woman.
Yeah, obviously. She got caught when she went on vacation, and the person filling in for her noticed an irregularity in some balance sheet, and that led to the investigation.
What do you have on your plate this morning that you want to share with our audience?
Well, I thought you had a great interview yesterday with Steve Corey.
Yeah, and I know why you said that. He had nothing but high praise for you.
I did not hear that.
Oh, okay.
No, I
Yeah.
caught it towards quarter to 8.
No, he said nice things about
okay.
Kevin Sullivan.
And he did hit it out of the park on George's eulogy.
He did,
Just
didn't
made
he?
it so
Yeah.
personal
That's
and
what I
so
understand.
brought it down to being heavy at times to light, and I mean, I hope I live longer because Steve's older, but if not, I think I'm going to have somebody reach out and have him do mine if he's willing.
Yeah. Well, tell him to start writing it now.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
that,
Now
you have
remember, a good eulogy starts out with a good opening and a good closing.
and the both of them as close together as
Exactly
possible.
right.
You know who said that? Billy Graham.
Okay.
I think that was who was famous for that occasion. It also gives me the opportunity, and I've known Steve for a long time. He used to be a neighbor, and then he moved on the other side of the tracks with wealthy people. But
Phil Salzer.
yeah, like Phil Salzer. At any rate, and I don't say this to give you an opportunity to say kind things about judges, but we're pretty fortunate in this area, are we not? With some very high quality people sitting in judgment of others from the bench.
You know, we are, and we have been for a long, long time. And I can remember going back to when I started practicing, even before that, when I was a kid hanging around the courthouse, because my father was a judge for a long time. You know, you would quickly know who the good judges were and who maybe the mediocre ones were. You would find out who really was interested in the pursuit of justice and dispensing justice, or who was just along for the ride. And we have, no profession is bad in 1,000 under the circumstances, but we have been very, I think, very blessed. And the thing that I like about a judge is consistency, and you get a judge who is maybe consistently harsh, or a judge, I can think of a judge that's retired that treated people that, let's say, had drug problems lighter than he did gun cases or stealing from little old ladies like home fraud. And you'd learn judges' propensities that way. And if a judge is unusually historically harsh, let's say, okay, that's fine, but it better enables me to prepare my client, prepare my case for what we're going into. It's the judge that's all over the place. You don't know what, Monday the judge is great, Friday the judge, well, not so. Monday, if a certain football team lost, oh, look out, continue your stuff. And it's and what a good judge will do is, and I'm talking from the criminal perspective, but frankly, it's true in a civil situation. You need to listen to both sides. You got to realize that no matter who that person sitting in the defendant's chair does not necessarily, despite the fact they've done something bad, maybe they shouldn't be thrown under the bus. Maybe they should be given a chance at rehabilitation. Maybe every year that they age, their maturity level better enables them to realize, I got to get out of this type of lifestyle or these type of activities. And so the judge's role is to try to be fair to both sides as well as the public at large. And like the criminal cases, that would be the people of the state of Illinois. And I'm off to Woodford County this morning, and they are notoriously harsh. And they're proud of it. Don't get me wrong. They're proud of that. They kind of laugh and scoff at some of the other counties that they don't think are as, that don't enforce the law as sternly or severely, and that's fine. A lot of attorneys will not go there because of that reason. But going in, it's going to be a tough situation. It's going to be tougher because this particular prosecutor, instead of agreeing to probation, may want 7 years in the Department of Corrections. I tell the clients when they come in, if they're going to hire me, you're in Woodford County. It's a different ballgame. And I'm not being critical of Woodford County from a sense that they're doing what they think is right. That's why we have people on our side of the fence trying to balance it all out. And I think that's why the judges in Woodford County have a very difficult job, because they, you've got a prosecutor that wants to go at 100%, and, you've got a defense attorney that's arguing this person ought to get 40%. Where does the judge come in? And certain judges are harsher than others. You get to know that, but you deal with it. And excuse me, you may get into another county. I know this has happened to me, where I've got a serious case and a prosecutor says, well, how about we do this? And I'm thinking, are you sure you want to do that? You're a prosecutor, and, I just try not to show the shock, because I don't want to give them I said, well, let me talk to the client. I'll get back to you. And I go to the client and said, you got to take this right now. Don't let them change their mind. Don't let them rethink this.
We got a hot one here.
We got a break. Let's go.
Yeah. And it's important. You've been around now practicing law in Central Illinois for how many years?
I'm coming up on 39.
39. And you pretty well know when you walk into the courtroom with the judge on the bench what the environment is going to be, and as a result, helps you determine what kind of an approach you're going to make as an attorney.
There's no question, and some judges are more serious than others. Some are very light in the courtroom, and the atmosphere is very light. I give you an example. Many years ago, when Bob Manning was on the bench, he ran a very tight courtroom. There wasn't a lot of levity in the courtroom. There was all business, and you never knew what he was going to do or say. Now, as you got to know how Bob was in the courtroom, and you knew how things kind of went, you started to realize he had a very dry sense of humor.
Yes, he did.
And some of it may have been for his internal fun, which it was. But no, there were times where, and there have been judges where there are some that have been volatile, some that have been you don't joke around with. You are got to be serious. You've got to be respectful. And what sometimes happens is, if I get to a county that's far away from here, let's say I'm down in southern Illinois, or let's say I'm up in Cook County, and those judges, you never know who you would be getting as a judge up there, because it's like a revolving circus. But you walk in and you're kind of trying to assess this judge. What's this person going to be like? Is this person a younger judge trying to make a name for himself and is going to really be difficult? I love walking into a courtroom if I don't know the judge, and I see a judge that's got some age on him, maybe a little bit of gray hair, maybe his robe's not completely zipped up, and he's sitting there, and you kind of walk in and you introduce yourself, kind of see what sort of reaction you get. I always try to say, Judge, can you give me a few minutes? I've got to look at a couple things in the file. I do that just to see the interaction with the judge and the other people, to kind of size him up. But, you figure a judge that's been on the bench, he's got a little gray hair, a little age, he's probably seen it all, done it all, and probably unflappable. And a lot of times those guys have a little more compassion and understanding for the human condition.
Yeah, on a personal note, Bob used to live on Newman Parkway in Wardcliff, the same subdivision where I lived. And I knew Bob fairly well. He was my brother's best man when Zach and Barb got married. And occasionally I'd run into Bob at Landmark. He used to work out at Landmark. And we had a conversation one day. And he said something to me and then walked away. And I thought about it, and I said, I think he just gave a shot at me. Because he had that dry sense of humor, and he could insult you, and you didn't know right away, was that an insult or was that a compliment, for that matter? But he was a super nice guy, and his son is about the same way, frankly speaking.
Absolutely. I just saw Bob Jr. last week, and had a great talk with him. But I'll tell you a funny story about Bob's sense of humor. I used to play golf with him. I would get a call to fill in if they had a foursome that was only a threesome sometimes, and so it was a fun group of guys. And of course, when you see a judge out on the golf course, it's different than in the courtroom. But you still realize you got a role, and he still has a role. You don't take advantage of that. One day we were playing golf, and it was some sort of maybe a bar association tournament. It was Bob Manning Sr., myself, Joe Napoli, and another attorney. Might have been an attorney by the name of Bill Kelly. I think, matter of fact, it was. And Joe didn't play much golf, but Joe was a good athlete because he
Yeah,
had good hand-eye
he led the
coordination
nation in
at
hitting when he
basketball
played at Bradley. Yeah.
So Joe had borrowed a set of clubs from a friend of his, and these clubs were very expensive, and Joe was talking about it. And so what Bob Manning did, we were waiting on one of the tees. Bob said, Joe, let me see that club for a second. And Bob knew about Joe borrowing these clubs from a friend, and Bob had a dummy club in his golf bag. So Bob says, I'm going to hit one out in the field here just to see if I like this club. And Bob purposely shanked that shot. It just was terrible. And he got real mad, and he reaches in his own bag, and he takes that club, and he snaps it over his knee. And you should see the look on Joe going, these clubs are expensive. I got to explain this to the guy. And even Bob laughed. He couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
That was Bob Manning. Yeah, God bless him anyway. As usual, thanks so much for
You're very welcome,
this
everybody.
morning. You bet. Have a great day. Stay warm and stay inside. You have to drive to Woodford County this morning?
I wish I was flying. But
Check your antifreeze.
No question. Well, it's not going to be as bad as this weekend. So,
The weekend's going to be bad.
Got a wedding.
All right. Thank you, as always. Appreciate it. Peoria Defense Attorney Kevin Sullivan, News, Weather, Sports.
Yes.
Coming up next. Stay tuned.
Your father-in-law.
Pleasant good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 21st of January, and we start our news block with a check of the weather brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of our clients since 1993, as they say, with a comprehensive range of home health care services from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. Your choice that does matter at Spoon River Home Health. Their phone number, 309-245-0723. We have quite a cornucopia of weather information to provide. We have a hazardous weather outlook due to strong winds today and tonight, followed by extreme cold weather Friday with wind chill values to 25 below. The National Weather Bureau calls it an extreme cold wash in effect beginning 3 in the morning, Friday morning until noon. Looking at today, cloudy, then becoming sunny, windy, and a little warmer today, up to 36, partly cloudy and cold tonight, with a 30% chance for snow and a low of 18. Tomorrow, cloudy, windy, and a cold 31. Not too bad, not as bad as it's going to get, because tomorrow night it'll be cloudy, windy, with a low 4 below. So we're going to go from 31 to 4 below. You got to be kidding, Roger. I'm not kidding. Friday, a cold day. We're only going to get up to 3. Overnight low Friday night, 6 below. Saturday, a high of 10. Saturday night, 4 degrees. The overnight low with a good chance for snow Saturday night. And our current temperature, 34 degrees. Now with our lead story, here's Terry Chamberlain.
President Trump, along with millions of Americans, cannot understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision has yet been made about men playing as females while also dressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Liberal Justice Brown Jackson seemed to be arguing on behalf of males who want to play in women's sports, as did Justice Sotomayor.
Last June, Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines, supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee, which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males on female teams. We talked about this issue just a little bit ago with Peoria attorney Kevin Sullivan.
Speaking of the president, after having to change planes, he's on the way to Davos, Switzerland, to meet with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them are angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. A Danish official has already used the F word, like the mayor of Minneapolis, to express his thoughts about Trump. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending this summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today in what could be a hostile environment.
The country's Justice Department isn't happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. It's part of a DOJ investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. Immigration and Customs enforcement. Many Americans are wondering why no one was arrested after the invasion of a St. Paul, Minnesota church service by a group of protesters last Sunday morning.
U.S. forces have taken over another Venezuelan oil tanker. The latest apprehension took place in the Caribbean. If you're keeping score, that makes 7 vessels that the Trump administration says violated the boycott.
In local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. The victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation.
A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least 1 count of theft.
Details have been released about a big fight at Richwoods High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families. 2 of them were injured.
Police were called yesterday morning to a 1-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for treatment. The other 2 remain at large.
Police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Greer after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest.
It took about an hour and a half, but President Trump ticked off a long list of his accomplishments after 1 year in the White House. Trump told reporters he brokered the end of 8 wars in the world and put an end to the daily rush of immigrants into the United States. Trump said the country's borders have never been more secure.
He also said gas prices have dropped, as have many grocery items. He gave credit to the imposition of tariffs for producing the largest amount of revenue in the history of the United States. He also took credit for new proposals to reduce the cost of prescription drug prices. And that is the news headlines for this period.
And we have more news on WCBU, brought to you by Realtor Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Kathy, available to help you buy or sell your next home. You can reach Kathy today at 309-696-2162.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Courtney Conroy. Bradley University and Illinois Central College are forming a transfer partnership. It's to create a seamless pathway between the higher ed schools while boosting the greater Peoria workforce. Bradley President James Chaddid says the Path to BU agreement represents a critical step for both institutions.
We're neighbors. We both have the same goals and missions and vision about higher education, and it just makes sense.
ICC Interim President Bruce Buddy says the program fortifies an already strong relationship with Bradley. A provision tucked in the fine print of Congress's Big Beautiful Bill could escalate a severe nursing shortage in central Illinois. Nurses pursuing graduate degrees will see new limits on federal student loan borrowing this fall. OSF Healthcare Chief Executive for Nurses and Advanced Practice Providers, Melinda Cooling, says that disrupts worker pipelines.
On the nursing side, this could be a big influence on those that are pursuing advanced practice degrees, as well as those who may become future faculty.
Borrowing is capped at $100,000 for nurses in graduate school. Senate Republicans say they have introduced a bill to repeal the requirement to use only renewable energy by 2050. This comes after the state passed a bill that invests in wind and solar energy to bolster the state's energy grid. Senator Sally Turner, who represents parts of Tazewell and Woodford counties, opposed the measure.
When it comes to, I need assistance with my energy bill because we know that's out of control right now. A lot of it, I think we see that it's going to special interests.
Turner says she supports lifting the state's moratorium on new large-scale nuclear power plants that's included in the law. And a former elementary school administrator in Tazewell County is facing felony theft charges for using the school's financial accounts for personal gain. 54-year-old Patrika Rawlings worked as the secretary and financial officer for Spring Lake Elementary in Manitou. She's accused of misusing school-issued credit cards and checks totaling more than $150,000 in unauthorized spending. Rawlings was taken into custody Monday afternoon. I'm Courtney Conroy.
Hey, it's time for sports. Tyrus with all the latest. Good morning, Tyrus. How we doing?
Good morning. How are we doing this morning, everybody?
Wonderful.
Thank you, Roger. Let's start with some Bradley basketball. They are 13-7 after losing to Illinois State University 88-62. They look to get on the winning track tonight against Indiana State at 6. It is a home game. Bradley girls basketball are 11-7 after losing to Northern Iowa 73-70. The next game is Friday versus Valsboro. This Friday at 6. It is a home game. Other news, Illinois basketball, they are 15-3 after beating Minnesota 77-67. Next game is tonight against Maryland at 6 p.m. at home, the National College Football Championship. Indiana beats Miami 27-21. NFL news, as you know, the Bears season ended. It is in overtime against the Rams at 20-17. They had their opportunities in this one, but kind of squandered them, and little miscommunications here and there, and that's what ended the season for them. Other big coaches fired in this one. Sean McDermott of the Bills. They will be looking for a new coach this offseason, so we'll see what happens there. And then the NFL Championship round, the Patriots versus the Broncos at 2 p.m. this Sunday, and the Rams versus Seahawks later that day at 5:30 p.m. NHL news: the Blackhawks, who are 22-7 after shutting out Winnipeg Jets 2-0. 32 saves from Spencer Knight, Bedard with a goal, and Jason Dickinson with a goal as well. It was also Jonathan Taves' return to the United Center after a long time. The former captain, they play tomorrow versus the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow at 6 p.m. He got a nice long ovation, which is pretty great. And then in the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 21-22 after blowing out the Clippers last night, 138-110. They play tomorrow away versus the Minnesota Timberwolves at 7 p.m. The Bulls are also expecting Josh Giddey to be back in the lineup for this game after missing 11 games. MLB news: Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are now in the Hall of Fame as of yesterday. Luis Robert has been traded from the White Sox to the New York Mets for Luis Angel Acuna and right-hander Tremaine Pauly to Chicago.
Do you really know any of those guys?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
That's
I never heard of them.
Yeah.
But they never heard of me either.
It's Ronald Acuna, you know,
No, I don't know him.
the outfielder for the Braves.
Yeah, I think he ran a Casey's over in Lewiston.
He had that first 50, 70 stolen bases, 50 homers, 70 stolen bases.
50 homers.
Oh yeah, he
For
had
how many years?
No, he had one of the greatest seasons.
Really, in one season? He had home runs?
And 70 stolen
Do you
bases.
know him, Dave? Does that ring a bell
Ronald
for you?
Acuna for the Braves.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so that's his little brother that just got traded to
The White Sox.
the White Sox.
Good.
Ronald, when he's healthy, he's one of the top players in the game. Acuna is. And then that's our report.
Okay,
Back
I bought
to
a
you
pair of
guys.
White Sox over the weekend.
You did?
Yeah, a pair.
Hey, you know what? You need those.
Yes, you do.
You're gonna need about
in this
3
kind of
pairs of them
weather.
this
Yeah.
weekend,
Yeah.
yeah.
No question. No question about it. All right, that's sports, and it's only Tyrus knows how to do it, and he knows his sport. All right, we have this day in history, so put your thinking caps on. You did well with the quiz from Professor Salzer on this day, January, get the right month, Roger, January 21st, 1793. What historical event took place in Europe? Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'll even help you out because we'll narrow it down to, we'll start with the country. Name the country.
France.
France is correct. So you're off to a big start.
The French Revolution.
Well, that's not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
But it was.
I like your long pause there.
Well,
The studio audience was very,
that was
very
called
excited
a brain freeze because I was trying to figure out the connection between what took place and what you said, and there was a connection.
Now, it's in France. Does it have anything to do with the French Revolution? Let's put it that way.
Well, I guess.
I mean,
it
that's
did,
happening
yeah.
at the time.
I
Robespierre
guess it did.
and
the verbiage on the answer is such that has me a little confused, but I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Because what took place, it said the Place de la Revolution in Paris. I don't mean, does that mean that was the location? Or was it the part of the revolution? I cannot answer
Maybe a
that.
couple
there's so
of
many
baguettes
angles
were
to,
stolen.
I mean, there's certainly the Reign of Terror, beheadings.
When was Marie Antoinette?
Yeah, lit them eat cake, right? Yeah.
You what?
Lit them eat cake, she said famously.
And I have been ever since.
Yeah, me too. I took that advice. It was
yes,
200 and some years
I
ago.
didn't
300
want to
years
Every
ago.
year for your
And
birthday.
every year I like to celebrate it on a daily basis.
Almost every week.
Yeah.
And if not every day. So you're really you're zeroing into
We're
what
circling
we're
around.
talking about. Yeah, the wagons
so is
are
this an
circling.
event or is it?
Well, you could call it an event.
Okay.
Somebody wasn't too happy about it.
Oh, would it be a beheading of some
Yes.
kind? Okay.
Oh, wait
Yes.
a minute.
Yes.
So was it
That's what he
Off
said.
with their head.
That's what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Marie
was it
Antoinette.
Marie
is what I'm
Antoinette
thinking.
being
That's what I'm thinking.
Who was it?
Marie Antoinette.
No,
Okay.
it was a guy.
Oh.
A guy and a gal. No, it was just a guy.
King Louis. I mean, was it?
And he lost his head over it.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
Yes, he did.
I was
Oh,
going to
my
say
goodness.
Heads will roll, as they
yes.
say.
Yep. Only one,
Well, that's.
and it was his. And who was it?
so this was way back then.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
1793.
I'm
Yep.
just wondering.
Oh, yeah.
King Louis, it's not Marie Antoinette. It's who is it? Robespierre was the one that was.
Shoot.
Gracious.
We're going to be like, oh my gosh.
Cardinal Richelieu, was it? He
That's a good guess. Cardinal
What?
Richelieu.
Who are you saying? Speak up.
Cardinal Richelieu?
No,
Yeah, I think he died of ripe old age.
it
So
was
we're
not.
actually-
It was not a cardinal or a cub.
But they were wearing white socks.
All right, I'm going to tell you, it was a king. What king was it?
I thought it
King.
was King Louis, but
Well, it was King Louis. Yeah, but what number?
The third.
Sixth.
Pardon?
The sixth. I can't remember.
The 14th?
Higher.
Oh,
16th.
King Louis
16th, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
King
yeah,
Louis
I see
XVI,
the-
executed
I saw
by
the Roman
guillotine.
Yeah.
He took over the French throne in 1774, but according to this, unequipped to handle the large financial problems, even though he got a hold of Rita Cromwell.
Yeah.
But she said, I've got my
call,
own,
folks,
I've got my own
revisionist
set of
history."
problems,
Yeah.
and I don't want to lose my head over it.
Yeah.
But his problems weren't his. He acquired them from his grandfather, King Louis the 15th.
15th, yeah.
In 1789, in a final attempt to resolve his country's financial crisis, Louis assembled the States General, a national assembly that represented the three estates of the French people, the nobles, the clergy, and the what? Starts with the letter C.
commoners.
That is correct, who made up the vast majority of the population. The commoners of the third estate used their newly appointed state general power to declare themselves the National Assembly and ignited the fateful French Revolution. That's why I was a little nervous when you brought it up, because it was later in the answer. Lewis was convicted of a conspiracy with foreign powers and sentenced to death by a narrow majority in January 1793. Boy, a narrow majority. That sounds like the school board. And on January 21st, he was executed by guillotine. That's pretty quick, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's all over.
Not a lot of time to think about it.
His wife, who was,
Marie Antoinette.
there you go, followed the king to the guillotine 9 months later after she was convicted of treason. So that came later, maybe 3 months later. We'll have that as
mark your calendars, everybody.
So
probably
that was, well, you did good on the historical question of the day. We'll be right back with more.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You know, I wanted to mention something about what we're reporting on the news this morning, that the President of the United States got on Air Force One and took off, and some of the national media said they had to do a U-turn. No, they just flew to the left or to the right, probably to the right, politically as well. At any rate, but the White House is saying a minor electrical problem. Well, if it was minor, why did it come back? You know what? I don't think it was as minor as they're saying, because it turned around. If it were minor, they would just keep going, say with no dip. But they said as a cautionary, measure, we're going to come back and switch planes. Yeah. What'd you say?
I like to know that the electricity's always working.
Yeah,
any plane
yeah.
I'm on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if the president said, because it shortly after they took off, they discovered it. I wonder if the president said, "I'll have a piece of toast," and the toaster wouldn't work. And
That's what you do.
Yeah, that would be minor. However, if the dials on the cockpit or in the cockpit were dancing around, that's not a minor problem. So you know,
you gotta unplug the microwave.
Yeah, and reset the alarm clock in the bedroom where the president. It would be interesting. This guy being the president of the United States, is able to function on 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Right.
And I wonder if when they took off, and it was last night, and what would it be? I don't know. That would be an excellent question to ask, by the way, is how fast does Air Force One fly? Wouldn't it be interesting to know? Where's Dick Crane when we need him? Former F-18 pilot. Are you able to find out how fast do you think Air Force One flies? The reason I raise that question is normally if you fly out of New York, I'm trying to think, we went to Europe twice, flying out of O'Hare, direct flight to Zurich, Switzerland. I think it was 9 hours. going over and 8 hours coming back. What'd you find?
630 miles per hour, so Mach 0.92.
Okay.
Cruising typically around 575 to 600 miles per hour.
And that's what Air Force One flies at?
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
So what would, he would get there quicker than United, I'm sure. And he's flying to Davos, and I assume they have space for multi numbers of passenger jets or jets for world leaders. You know, as we're reporting 3,000 people. What's his name? Gabby Newsom. He is there, and he had to fly from California there, so his flight. So you just wonder, just how long did it take? Do you know what the air miles are from New York to Switzerland? Davos would be probably similar in distance as it would be to Zurich, and I think on the way back it was 8 hours. One you're with the jet stream, and the other we're fighting the jet stream.
That's true.
Do we have any idea how?
2,700 miles. That's my guess.
2,700 miles.
I don't know. I'm just
So what do
guessing.
you do? Divide 6 into it to figure out how many hours it would take.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably low on that.
Six. You think 6 hours?
4,000 miles.
All these mathematical wizards. The reason I'm raising the question, did he then, as soon as it took off, did he say, I'm going to grab some sleep? And
And was there a movie on that flight?
yeah,
Knowing him, he's probably working.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, from Washington, D.C., it's 4,216 miles.
Oh, wow.
4,000 miles. So 6 into that would be 6.5 hour flight. Is that what we're talking about? And then you wonder if they goosed it. We don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And he probably would say, you know, guys, if you don't mind, don't goose it. And then it also raises questions. At some point, are there any fighter planes accompany the Air Force One in the airspace? And do passenger jet, you know, I could see you flying on United or American Airlines, and you see by, and they say, what was that? Oh, that was Air Force One. They just passed us.
Can you wear Air
Yeah.
Force Ones on Air Force One?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting time.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, let's get into our final newscast, and then we're going to talk weather. And I know, Dave, you got to go to
I do
work.
have
I
to get going.
appreciate
Got a
it.
webinar,
Thanks as always.
and looking forward to
You
seeing
bet.
everybody. Have a great Wednesday.
Yeah,
Rest
same
of the
to
week,
you.
too.
You too.
And,
All right.
See you next week.
and stay warm.
I will do that.
All right, good. And ladies and gentlemen, our news this morning is brought to you as we bring you up to date on what's happening by Advanced Medical Transport, the provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance service in central, western, and eastern Illinois. They're growing with leaps and bounds, I might add. There are more than 500 AMT employees, men and women, wonderful folks, dedicated to offering and providing the best in healthcare. Saving lives is what they do. And what we do is give you the news with Terry Chamberlain.
President Trump, along with millions of Americans, cannot understand how justices of the Supreme Court apparently believe it's okay for males to play on female sports teams simply because they're claiming to be female. His comments came after oral arguments before the court were made this week. No decision has yet been made about men playing as females, while also dressing and undressing in women's locker rooms. Last June, the Supreme Court voted 6-3 along party lines, supporting a ban in the state of Tennessee, which ruled males could not compete as females. 20 states currently allow males on female teams. Speaking of the president, he's on his way to Davos, Switzerland, to meet with global leaders at the World Economic Forum. Most of them are angry about Trump's desire to make Greenland a part of the United States in one form or another. Close to 3,000 officials representing more than 130 countries are attending the summit. Trump is scheduled to speak today. The country's Justice Department is not happy with the way Minnesota officials have handled attacks on ICE agents. They've announced grand jury subpoenas have been served on Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, as part of a DOJ investigation into whether state and local officials obstructed U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. In local news, a 62-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a house fire in Chillicothe yesterday afternoon. Peoria County Sheriff Chris Watkins said the house was located in the 16,000 block of Old North Galena Road. Other members of the family were able to escape safely. However, the victim, who died later at a local hospital, did not. Cause of the fire is under investigation. A former school secretary in Manitou has been accused of stealing over $150,000. Tazewell County officials say 54-year-old Patricia Rawlings took money while working at Spring Lake Elementary School. She's facing at least one count of theft. Details have been released about a big fight of Richwood High School girls last Friday night, apparently after a basketball game. 5 teens were arrested and released to their families. 2 of them were injured. Police were called yesterday morning to a one-vehicle accident at the intersection of Sheridan Road and Bronze Avenue. 3 people in the SUV fled the scene, apparently because it was stolen. One of the 3 was apprehended because he was injured. He went to a local hospital ER for treatment. The other 2 remain at large. Police say they arrested 18-year-old Tony Greer after he was caught carrying a bad gun in the 2700 block of West Krause yesterday morning. Turns out the gun was stolen. Greer has been charged with a total of 8 violations, including resisting arrest. And those are the headlines, Roger. I also want to take this opportunity to talk about the vendor show. And this is going to be a special Valentine's vendor show that will be at the mall on Saturday, February 7th. It's one day only. It'll be from 10 to 4. And again, that's the mall, and that'll be a good time to get some Valentine gifts.
Oh, that's an excellent idea. Good suggestion. Another good suggestion is find out just what's going on with this weather. And who knows better than Kyle Arnold? I don't know. Kyle's on the line. Mr. Weather, good morning.
Good morning, Roger and friends. How are we this sunshiny, warming day?
The sun is out.
The sun is out. It is shining. We have winds out of the south, kind of bringing in some warm weather. So you hinted at it Wednesday. I was like, it's really not going to get that warm. But actually today, Roger, you're right. It'll be the warmest day of the next 10 days ahead of us. So, yay! Get out and enjoy it.
I think I'll stay inside and enjoy it. What is going to be the worst? The National Weather Bureau's talked about, and I haven't heard this term before. Help me out on this. Called extreme cold watch. Is that a new term? Has that been around for a while?
It is. So we used to call it a dangerous or wind chill warning, or wind chill advisory is the term we used to use. Now they make it more simpler because some people apparently don't know what wind chill means, and it's called extreme cold watch or extreme cold warning. An extreme cold warning will be in effect come tomorrow night and Friday till about noon. That is pretty much all but certain. We have really, really cold air, the coldest air of the season by far, moving in tomorrow night, so Thursday night, and it will definitely be present Friday morning. I expect the local schools to not be in person. I think they'll be at home e-learning on Friday just because of how cold it's going to get. The best way to describe it, so we've been talking about Alberta Clippers the last week or so. What this system coming in is this deep, deep trough of cold, almost polar vortex type air. It can best be described as a Manitoba Mauler. It is just, it's that dangerous. It's that lethal. It's that violent. To put it in terms of weather, it's unbelievable. And the jet stream really brings it into play. come tomorrow night and the early part of Friday. It's just going to be so very cold. And the winds will, the winds are out of the south today, so they'll feel warmer. They're bringing in warm air. And they'll pick up this afternoon, I think, into the evening. We have another clipper system moving through. Might see a brief bit of snow between, say, 6 and 9 p.m. Nothing accumulating, nothing sticking. But it's the cold air on the backside that really filters in on the backside of that frontal boundary, which you really won't notice until tomorrow afternoon, and the temperatures just drop, and it just plummets, and very dangerous wind chills of 30 to 35 below come 48 hours from now.
So be specific for me on this. What is the worst period of time to be outside?
Worst period of time, I would say, is 10 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday night, to noon on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can avoid travel, do, because if you are stranded for whatever reason, flat tire, car dies, car won't start, whatever reason, you don't have a warm place to get to, it is life-threatening cold.
Yeah, that's scary. I think I might see about setting up so we do the show from our homes.
I think it's a wise decision.
I do too.
Call in. I think the schools will be at e-learning. They'll be doing the home school on a Friday, which is fine. We have the capabilities to do that now thanks to technology, so it's a very, very good thing. Don't risk it. Don't chance it. If you don't have to travel on Friday morning, don't go out in the cold. It's that dangerous. And pray that your heater works, and pray that you have a heat source. And if you don't, find someone that does, because this is very, very dangerous. And as you always say, Miss Terry, tomorrow night, have your water dripping, the slow drip, so your pipes don't freeze, because it will be that cold on Thursday night into Friday.
Yeah. When was the last time we had temperatures like you're forecasting?
It was just over a year ago. It was in February, or just under a year ago.
It was a
right
year
after
ago
Valentine's
next month,
Day.
really?
Yeah. It's Valentine's Day. We saw a dangerous cold. I think they called it an extreme cold watch then, too. The last couple of years, they switched over from wind chill warning or wind chill advisory to extreme cold watch, extreme cold warning, to dumb it down for the people that don't know what a wind chill is. So.
Yeah, the temperatures are, frankly speaking, down around spooky and scary, to tell you the truth. And
absolutely. I mean, anytime we get below zero, it's dangerous. But when you're looking at wind chill factors of 30 to 35 below, just 48 hours from now, that is not something that your body can recover from. That's not something that you can adapt to. That is dangerous cold. No matter how many layers you wear, whatever part of the skin is exposed to the air, it will be potential to frostbite.
Yeah. What's the story? We started at 33 degrees. Officially now, according to one source, we've dropped to 29 degrees. I thought we were supposed to start. Are we still going to try to get up to 35, 36 today?
Yeah, we will. The southwest winds will get us there. I think we'll probably be in the mid to upper 30s, maybe 37, 38 today before the cold air moves in. So, no, I definitely think that'll be the case as far as what's to come today. Today, again, we've talked about it, but today will be the warmest day of the next 10 days at least. So, just if you can take anything from this interview, this topic, this conversation, this segment, please know that today's as good as it gets until probably the end of the month. So,
bottom line is, if you don't have to, if it's not mandatory, stay home, or at least today, if you need milk, and I do. Go to the grocery store and get your vital necessities today, because things are going to, pardon the expression, go south.
Very, very much so. Very, very much so. And speaking of south, if I can transition to the next topic of discussion, if that's
you certainly can.
Well, I think this is really important because we've been talking about it for over a week now, and now it's really, the models are starting to trend further north with our next winter storm that was looking to go south of us. We were saying inch, maybe 2. We'll keep an eye on it. Still early. But again, these are models, but the Euro this morning is showing 5 to 7 inches now for Sunday for us from that massive storm that's going to be moving across the Ohio River Valley. So down there, they're looking at probably a foot. So a day ago, we were looking maybe 1 to 2 inches. And the American model is still hinging at a more southerly track. But the Euro, who's been the go-to, who's been the most accurate, the most dependable model of the last 3 or 4 years, is now saying, well, actually we're looking at a bit further north track. And because we won't have as sharp of a dry air cutoff on the backside with the cold, cold air, don't be surprised to see some accumulating snow on Sunday. And on Friday, we'll talk greater detail as to those totals as we get close to that upcoming storm system this weekend.
So you're talking about Sunday night or Sunday morning?
Sunday during the day.
Sunday during the day.
Sunday during the day.
So
During the day. Yep.
you don't want to go out on the limb yet about how much accumulation?
No.
Okay.
No, we're still
too
5
early.
days out. I'd rather not. Yeah, I think the confidence isn't there just yet. Again, we know it's going to be a major winter storm for some part of the Midwest. Right now, the Ohio River Valley looks to be the main area of impact. But as this track, the models last couple of days are showing a more northerly track. It's trekking further north than what we thought. So now instead of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee getting the brunt of the snowfall, now it's Missouri, Kentucky, Indiana, Southern Illinois getting the heaviest of snowfall. But the possibility of the snow back building on the backside of it is really starting to come into fruition. And so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it for what could be our next winter storm. I mean, it will be next winter storm, not necessarily for us, but it might be for us if this storm continues to track further north in its latest runs.
All right, well, I don't think you can make it any clearer what you have just articulated, my friend. These are going to be dangerous times, and stay abreast of ever-changing events and pay attention to what Kyle, Mr. Weather, is telling us at periods of time that it's your health and your best interest can be preserved if you follow his advice and suggestions. Stay home unless you absolutely have to go somewhere, and we're probably talking primarily about police and firemen and medical personnel working in hospitals and nursing homes and healthcare facilities.
Our best blessing of all this super duper cold weather coming in, this Manitoba Mauler, as we're going to coin it, is there's not a lot of winter precipitation on the ground or on the roads, so the roads won't be slick, the roads won't be, we don't have to worry about that with people getting stranded out there. But the air temperature will be to the levels that it is still life-threatening, despite the road conditions being clear and dry.
Yeah.
So please, please, please take that into consideration if you do have any travel plans come tomorrow night or Friday, for that matter. And then we'll keep an eye on the next winter storm.
Yeah.
This coming Sunday.
If someone wants to keep track of what's happening from the meteorological services and offices of Kyle Varnum, is there a website they can go to, or do they just need to check you out on Facebook?
Check me out on Facebook. There's no website. I haven't.
You need to get one.
My weather predictions yet. I know everyone says that too.
Yeah.
They said I could be a rich man.
Yeah.
And maybe entertaining, but no, it's when I work for the Weather Service, it's a free service, taxpayer funded. I have no problem. I love talking about weather, so I don't mind.
I never would have guessed that. I thought you had an aversion to weather.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And I love, this time of year. I mean, aside from the dangerous cold, but with winter storms and then we transition to the severe storm season, just tracking those things, looking at forecast analytics and guidance and trying to see, make more predictions, see where it comes to, a factual track of the storm or how it verifies in the end and how much snow we actually get, which is why I'm hesitant to go out on totals. But I will say there's growing chances of accumulating snowfall this weekend, and it could be quite a sloppy, dangerous situation on Sunday as that storm treks further north, I should say.
Well, just think, in a few months, we'll be talking about frying an egg on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And right now, we're worried about surviving cold temperatures, bitterly cold temperatures, wind chill. What do you think will be the area of the lowest wind chill temperature?
In the Midwest or in our area?
No, in our. I don't give a damn about the rest of the country. I want to know what's going to happen. Well, I want to know what's going to happen to me.
Yeah. So northwest of the Illinois River, I think, is the greatest concern. And even if you're southeast of the Illinois River, you'll still be 30 below wind chill. Northwest of the Illinois River, I think you have the potential to be 35, 40 below wind chill. With that stronger air. So how the trough is set up is it looks like it's going to come across northeast Iowa, northern Illinois, and then move across southern Michigan, and that will be the polar vortex region if we were to use that term. So that's where the coldest of air will take place in all three levels of the atmosphere. No, I think northwest of the Illinois River is I expect, let's just say this, I expect an extreme cold warning come tomorrow night and Friday morning.
All right, we'll keep that in mind as we prepare for the onslaught of the dangerous temperatures. Turning to sports, what playoff games in the NFL do we have coming up this weekend?
Oh, we got the championship weekend. We got the best games of them all, the ones that determine who our Super Bowl is. Sometimes the AFC and NFC championship games are far more entertaining than the actual Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has been a dud sometimes, whereas, these teams are battling for that right to go play in beautiful, safe San Francisco, and we'll see how it pans out. But no, I'm really excited about Los Angeles and Seattle. Being an NFC fan, I think if any team can give Seattle a chance of being taken down, it is right now the Los Angeles Rams. I absolutely. So I think that'll be a great game. I'm also very excited about this matchup that they've been predicting for weeks now, but then people are like, their strength of schedule really doesn't pan well for them. I was really hoping the Bills would be taking on the Patriots. But no, it's the Broncos and the Patriots. I think will again be another great game. It'll be very interesting to see how the Broncos do without Bo Nix. The Lions of Vegas changed drastically once 30 minutes after that game they announced Bo Nix broke his ankle and will be out the rest of the season. So New England's favored, and quite so. Mike Vrabel, great coach, what he's done with that program. We'll see how Derek May performs. We'll see how New England performs in the Rocky Mountains. But no, great weekend of football, and do enjoy your Sunday, where you'll likely be staying home because you'll probably be snowed in to watch the football games. So,
Well, it sounds like an exciting weekend. I think Seattle will win their game, and I think Seattle will be crowned as the Super Bowl champs. And that's my prediction.
Right now they look to be the favorite. But I'm just saying, we've seen stranger things happen.
Oh, sure.
And so that's the joy of the NFL. That's the excitement of it all, and that's why it's the highest rated, sports broadcasting of all the sports that are televised. And we love it.
Very true.
Thanks, Kyle. Stay warm, and we'll probably check in with you tomorrow as well. Thanks. You bet.
Sure, might as well. Thanks so much.
All right. Kyle Barnold, Mr. Weather. Lee Linder is Mr. Pet Tip of the Day.
Today's Pet Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet.
Seatbelts save lives. We've been told this for many years, and some of us know firsthand that it's a true statement. Sadly, some of us know animals that have been killed in a car accident or caused the accident because they were unrestrained. One woman I know recently survived an accident only to find her Yorkie that had been on her lap was crushed by the steering wheel. I know it's just not natural or a part of our routine to buckle up our pets in the car, but maybe it should be. There are now some car models that can be ordered with built-in pet seat belts. A simple harness attachment can be purchased at any pet store for any car model. As with all small children, riding in the front seat is also not advisable for your pets. The airbags on deployment have such force that they can kill your pet. Accidents can occur if a dog tangles with the driver, so it's best to keep your pet in the back seat. Cats should always be in a carrier as their movements can be dangerously erratic. Cats' sense of hearing and balance makes them very poor car occupants. Regardless of state seatbelt laws, here is an important note for all pet owners. The states of Hawaii, Connecticut, Illinois, and Maine have banned motorists from driving with pets in their laps. Other states are considering laws similar to this one. So be sensible, be careful, be loving, and protect this member of your family with his own seatbelt.
This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at PeoriaPetCrematory.com.
You know, a little earlier on our program, we were talking about truck drivers and communicating with one another with CB radios. What was the name of that song, and who did it?
Convoy by C.W. McCall.
Yeah, and that was a great song, and we were wondering whether or not those truck drivers today have CB radios, or are they just...
Oh, yeah.
You think they do?
They do. They definitely do. My buddy's got one.
Oh.
Oh, really?
He's a truck driver.
Your brother?
My buddy.
Your buddy, okay.
Yeah, he works for Newsbomb.
Oh, Newsbomb out of Fairbury.
Yeah.
You think we can get a hold of him? We did. We've got him on the line.
There he is.
Do you know Tyrus Killian? Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, we definitely got the front door good, buddy. Mercy sakes alive, looks like we got us a convoy.
It was the dark of the moon on the 6th of June in a Kenworth pulling logs. Cab over Pete with a reefer on and a Jimmy hauling hogs. We was heading for Bear on I-10 about a mile out of Shaky Town. I says, Big Ben, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer on down.
Cause we got a little convoy rocking through the night. Yeah, we got a little convoy, ain't she a beautiful sight? Come on and join our convoy, ain't nothing gonna get in our way. We gonna roll this trucking convoy across the USA. Breaker, Big Ben, this here's a duck, and you wanna back off them hogs? Okay, for about 5 miles or so, okay, Roger, them hogs are getting intense up here.
By the time we got into Tulsa town, we had 85 trucks in all. But there's a roadblock up on the Cloverleaf, and them bears was wall to wall. Yeah, them smokies as thick as bugs on a bumper. They even had a bear in the air. I says, calling all trucks, this here's a duck. We about to go hunting some bear.
You want to give me a 10-9 on that, Big Ben? Oh, negatory, Big Ben. You still too close. Yeah, them hogs starting to close up my sinuses. Mercy sakes, you better back off another 10.
Interstate 44 like a rocket sled on rails. We tore up all of our swindle sheets and left them setting on the scales. By the time we hit that Chi-town, them bears was a-getting smart. They'd brought up some reinforcements from the Illinois National Guard. Yeah, there was armored cars and tanks and jeeps and rigs of every size. Them chicken coops was full of bears and choppers filled the skies. Well, we shot the line and we went for broke with 1,000 screaming trucks and 11 long-haired friends of Jesus in a chartreuse microbus.
Yeah, Southbuster, listen, you want to put that microbus in there behind that suicide junkie? Yeah, he's all dynamite. He needs all the help he can get.
There we laid a strip for the Jersey Shore, prepared to cross the line. I could see the bridge was lined with bears, but I didn't have a doggone dime. I says, Big Pen, this here's a rubber duck. We just ain't gonna pay no toll. So we crashed the gate doing 98. I says, let them truckers roll 10-4.
Hey, we have to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed that from many moons ago and the 70s. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. In the meantime, be careful out there and stay warm. Have a great day, everybody.